All right, all right, all right. We're not gonna stall. We're gonna jump right fucking into it. This is the second stream of today. I'm fucking tired as hell. Barely got any sleep. Hold on. I'm still like yawning and shit. Because I'm so fucking tired. But today, oh my god, the content has been good. The content has been bountiful and plentiful these last 2 days. It's been really good. Now, for those of you who were here a couple of days ago when I was doing my Idubbbz and Ethan Klein review, right? You guys are gonna remember this tweet because I brought it up. I made this tweet the day of, like a couple of hours. Idubbbz announced his content cop, right? Idubbbz is going to make a content cop on H3H3, trying to hit the same notes as H3 Sasan nuke. It's going to include their friendship issues and ultimately fall flat because Idubbbz will look like a pandering moron who flakes on people. And the reason why I said pandering, and this is what I said the morning of, whenever I streamed about when I streamed about like Idubbbz, what my predictions were going to be, I said that he was going to include Hassan a lot to try to appeal to him, right? Making him a fair weather friend to Ethan Klein, which is another topic that we discussed and we'll probably discuss a little bit in detail in a second. This will more than likely be a self nuke. This was my prediction about it. So far, we're right on the fucking money. We're right on the fucking money, baby. H3 nuke, right? H3 nuke. It's expected. It was obvious. Anybody look, this isn't anything impressive, okay? I'm not going to take a huge fucking I'm not going to take a huge W on this, right? It's completely pointless to take a huge W on this. This isn't anything impressive. Everybody was expecting it to be an H3 nuke. It was very obvious, right? He didn't really hide it that much. So, whoa. Thank you, Texi, for the $20. Immediately starting off strong, and thank you, Goat Cattle, for the raid. I very much appreciate you, buddy. I very much appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. No, it was very obvious that it was going to be H3H3 in my opinion. It was very obvious. Like all of the signs were there. All of the signs were there. I went over why I thought it was going to be H3H3. Like I said a couple of days ago, all of the signs were there. There was no way that it wasn't going to be, okay? There is no way that it wasn't going to be. So before we even get into the video, I haven't pre-watched this. I literally took a nap earlier and I woke up just now, right? I woke up because my phone was going off. People were DMing me and shit, saying like, oh my god, he did it. I was like, okay, we'll see what we got going on. So now we're gonna see what we got going on. Immediately, he's probably going to talk about his relationship with Anissa. He's probably going to talk about Ethan Klein and how bad their friendship was in the current years. He's probably going to appeal to Hassan and all of these fucking lefty streamers. I can immediately tell that's what's going to happen, and it's going to try to replicate like the modern standard of like criticism video essays, and it's going to talk about Ethan's rashness, his pettiness, his tendency to lash out and stuff like that. I already know because he's going to regurgitate the same talking points about Ethan Klein that have been talked about for the past 5 fucking years. It's going to be a completely unoriginal video, and he's going to look pathetic in it. That's my prediction. We'll see.
Destination.
And I promise you, I didn't pre-watch this. If you were here for the stream 2 days ago, before this video released, or 3 days ago before this video released, the morning of. I made the exact same predictions back then as I'm making now. So we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna get right fucking into it. We're not stalling. We're just going to cover it immediately. And that's probably the only thing that we're going to cover for today. And then I'm going back to bed. Probably my head hurts.
Consider the
fucking thing in our defense, like. Actually, Hila's not a baby killer. Actually, accusing Ethan of killing his dog is maybe too far because they have mobilized.
Okay, this is you see this? This is already in reference to Ethan Klein and to Ethan Klein's friendship with Idubbbz. That's already in reference to Ethan Klein's friendship with Idubbbz because if you don't know, previously there was a guy on YouTube named Froggy Tonic who attempted to sort of accuse Idubbbz of not accuse Idubbbz but accuse Ethan Klein of negligently killing his dog because he didn't take care of it.
Such an insane
so that's already one box checked.
Harassment group that anybody who says any fucking thing.
And look, he's trying to replicate that old, crude Idubbbz style where he's just sitting in his fucking shirts, scratching his belly on the couch. We don't fucking believe this anymore, man. Like this isn't Idubbbz, you know? That's not Idubbbz anymore. This isn't fucking 2015 Idubbbz. Nobody's gonna fall for this.
They will attempt to ruin their lives. And once again, I'm the crazy one. It's not bad enough that I have this group of...
I see my friend getting fucking harassed and defamed online, and the first thing I think about is making a fucking content cop on him. Amazing fucking stuff.
What we do
Idubbbz.
here is go back.
He's trying, like the thing is, this is not him anymore. So it just comes off as if he's trying too fucking hard. Yeah, all right, pal.
What's up, everybody? I'm Hassan Piker in this awesome
Immediately with Hassan. Immediately with fucking Hassan. Why am I not surprised?
Coming to you live from.
I can only imagine this
day
will be
here
a
in
defensive
California, Los
Hassan
Angeles,
right here.
where I'm live, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic moment because today's a beautiful day. I have a very important announcement. I finally done it. I watched Ethan Klein's content new.
Please title this Defund the Police. I'm not titling it Defund the Police.
Because the reality of the matter is, it was brilliant. Nothing was out of context. Everything was correct. I am an Islamist, fundamentalist, radical terrorist. I am a vicious anti-Semite. It's true. Most importantly, Ethan is more attractive than me, both physically and also mentally. I've been lying about everything, including my glasses. They're fake. He was right about that. That's not even in the content.
Oh, this is an AI generated video, I believe. I believe this is actually like AI.
And he was right about that too. How did he know everything? How?
Wait.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Ethan, wake up.
Wakey, Ethan. Wake.
You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be fucking kidding me. It wasn't. I thought it was like an AI voiceover. He actually fucking got him. They actually met. Dude, this is already crossing 2 of the fucking checks that I fucking said. This is already crossing 2 of the checks that I predicted a couple days ago. The dude, he's already immediately fucking siding with the fucking ops. Dude, this guy.
Wake, Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
This is one of your dreams.
No way. No way.
Ethan, wake up. Wake up, Ethan.
No way.
Wake up.
What a fucking creature. What a fucking creature. So far, baby, we're right on the fucking money, man. We're right on the fucking money, man. And ultimately, fall flat because Idubbbz will look like a pandering moron who flakes on people. What is he doing here, man? He's pandering to that side of the fucking YouTube sphere. Of the streamer sphere. And he's flaking on Ethan Klein, who's been his friend for far longer than any of these people have been fucking active.
Anyone? Just wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up. Wake up, Ethan.
I'm not gonna do a React content yet, chat.
I'm the same Joe Biden.
This is so fucking cringe.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up.
Okay, we can all like agree. Okay, we can all like agree that whenever they say Sabra, they're probably being racist. Okay, they're probably being anti-Semitic, and they fucking let her make a fucking Sabra joke in this video. Idubbbz, you're a fucking creature, dude. Okay, I don't care that people are racist. I don't care that people like use edgy or anti-Semitic jokes. It doesn't. I could care fucking less. But given the implications here. And given the context that this really pisses Ethan off because of the anti-Semitic, hatred that some of these people do have, they very much do have. This is fucking insane. You could just tell this motherfucker had so much fun. You could just tell this motherfucker had so much fun with all these fucking losers. Like he didn't do that as a gag. He genuinely enjoyed being there with all those fucking wretched freaks.
All right. I didn't plan on making a content comp on H3. It sounds very stupid.
Imagine Sam Hyde being in that collage. That would be amazing.
Idubbbz, Ethan Klein's out of control. And then you should do a content comp on Hassan Piker. Content comp on Sargon of Akkad. If I would imagine this in 2016, I would have been like, oh yeah, if I ever do that, it's got to be because I lose the plot. Well, it turns out it's not me losing the plot. It's Ethan. He's the one.
Turns out it's not me losing the plot. It's Ethan. Ethan can be a very rash, very petty individual, but Ethan is far from losing the plot. Ethan is far from losing the plot in 2025, okay? Sure, he might be like taking some like, you know, unhinged shots at people that might not deserve it, like random fucking you know, chatters, random Reddit posters. But he is well within his right to do so, as like, you know, petty as it is.
Attacked first.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up.
So go fuck yourself.
I agree.
All right, guys, I'm going to tell you a
Yeah, your good fucking friend does not have a spine to speak. Oh, wait. Sorry. 4 minutes in. What is it? 4 minutes in. What is it? It's going to include their friendship issues and ultimately fall flat because Idubbbz will look like a pandering moron who flakes on people. Yeah! Already, baby! Give me my fucking money!
About Ethan Klein. I know some of you have been following him, but there's a lot of people who might not be familiar with the background, with his podcast, with what's been going on over the past couple of years. So Ethan, as you know, is a content creator who has a podcast where he says all sorts of outrageous stuff. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's fucked up. He's had shows with all sorts of different controversial characters. He's had a show with Trisha Paytas. He's had a show with Hassan Piker. In doing so, he's gathered a ton of different audiences. Now, in his podcast with Hassan, Leftovers, they would mostly talk about surface level progressive shit and make fun of right-wingers.
And you're telling me he didn't flick their dick once at least?
Oh, that's 100 shavers. You trans women. I say, oh no!
And it was mostly that until they actually had to reckon with a very serious topic. I would say
it was mostly that until they actually had to reckon with a very serious topic. Now, QQ brought up to me that this video was mostly going to include Israel versus Palestine arguments, or Palestine, whichever way you want to pronounce it. And I couldn't help but agree, because the only way that you can attack Ethan Klein properly modern day would be because of his lack of insight on certain politics, which I can agree with. I'm not well versed on politics, but I did enough research to understand that Ethan is not most of the time he's not exactly like the most introspective, you know, intelligent person when it comes to like the political stuff that he covers.
that Hassan was very well equipped to talk about that topic.
Very well equipped to talk about that topic. Yeah, okay, hold on. Pandering. Okay, pal.
People living in the West Bank are subject to these horrific.
Something that I noticed about Hassan is that things that he, like, you know, uses to educate himself. As I was doing research on Noah Samson stuff, something that he does to educate himself is that he watches videos from like people like Bad and Panada, Noah Samson, to, like, you know, understand, like, to see how people will refute those, like, you know, people like Hassan, like you know, Ethan Klein and their arguments. And what these people will use, that they'll just use like very I want to say misrepresented data, misrepresented information, right? So to call a guy who like informs, like, you know, who I guess like applying these standards to 2019 would probably be incorrect. But modern day, I wouldn't say that Hassan is you know, like this fucking super intellectual individual when it comes to these issues. I just don't think that's the
horrific
case.
living conditions by the state of it.
Ethan made a really good point in his content nuke. There needs to be better representatives for these issues. There needs to be people that are much better at talking about these things, who are more capable of, you know, getting their ideas out there in a cleaner fashion.
Israel, America's greatest ally and the only democracy in the Middle East, if you ask Republicans and even liberals.
Well, the dancing invented was okay, yeah.
Israeli settlers are trying to evict Palestinian families in occupied East Jerusalem. The United Nations says that may be a war crime. It literally is.
Was just eating the toppings. The pizza looked like a burn victim. It was all disgusting.
I don't know if you can make that joke in 20.
Okay, so I see what he's trying to do. He's cherry picking select issues, right? He's cherry picking select issues of Ethan Klein, not talking about political issues. But hold on. Let me do some cross analysis real quick. Let me do some cross research. So back then, during 2019, like Hassan was apparently talking about Israel and Palestine conflicts and issues. Interesting. So when was the Idubbbz bald era? When was the not Idubbbz bald era? When was the H3 you know, bald era when he went bald? I need to like see when this was. When did he go bald? When was he bald, like, you know, on stream? Yeah, because if this was like, you know, I believe this was like 3 to 4 years ago. Because like, if he's cherry picking this example right here, then I could also cherry pick an example where Ethan Klein was very much like, you know, like against against like the Israel-Palestine atrocities from around a similar era.
21.
Why?
It's insensitive to burn
I think it's a good analogy. It's a powerful
That might be
image.
wrong,
Ethan
though. That might
is
be
not
wrong.
prepared for this. Ethan, the whole time, is more of the goof guy. And that's fine. You know, we don't expect Ethan to be an expert on the topic. Ethan was obviously caught in this tricky situation where he is extremely sympathetic to the Israeli cause and what's happening to them. His wife's Israeli. She served in the IDF. He obviously...
It's incredibly easy. It's incredibly easy, and I'll say this much: it's incredibly easy to feel unsympathetic to like, you know, a large group of people when you've got people like Noah Samson, for example, attempting to cherry pick you know, information to make it appear as if an entire region of people is all equally genocidal as the other. Okay, because that's stuff that Noah Samson will do in his video. Noah Samson will cherry pick, you know, very, very skewed information, or sometimes even information that is obviously selectively chosen, right, with selective bias, to make it appear as if everybody in Israel is just culturally genocidal, like they just believe in genocide because they want to subjugate people to their will. It's very easy. Very, very easy to believe that everybody in that you know, country hates another group of people. When you got morons like fucking Noah Samson and Bad and Panada, like, you know, attempting to make that feel like that's the case all the time. And I wonder if he's going to try to make the exact same points, because if he did, then I'll know that this guy isn't being creative with this video. I know that he's probably just being used as a puppet by Hassan, and just, you know, regurgitating like Hassan talking points.
likes the state of Israel. On the other hand, he's just got done capturing a massive progressive audience who are very politically savvy. They follow Hassan.
Who are very politically savvy. Yeah, okay, pal. Okay, Idubbbz in the past would be the type of person who would mock audiences for being idiotic, because he knows that when you're a YouTuber, you will probably attract a very idiotic audience that needs to like have their opinion spoon-fed to them. Right? So this is just being way too good faith. This is being way too good faith to, like, you know, to Hassan's audience that he like cross-cultivated with Ethan Klein. That is being way too good fucking faith.
A political streamer. So this is something they're very keyed into. So when they see Ethan say things that are just like not accurate and it's just propaganda, they're going to call it out.
From the river to the sea.
But not from his audience. We're smart. Hopefully. Hopefully everybody who watches me is smarter than I am. I would really hope that to be the case.
Over the years, they're becoming increasingly critical of his position, because now he's talking about it not on Leftovers, he's now talking about it on his podcast.
What I want to do is show you guys how I see Israel.
Okay, so is he not allowed? Is he not allowed to? Okay, so you know where this came from? You know where this came from? This came directly from Noah Samson's video. This clip came directly from Noah Samson's video, unironically, and I can show you. I can show you. Hold on.
Since I released
Hold on. He uses the clip, and then he says that and then he like claims that Ethan Klein is like an Israel supporter.
We're planning to go to Israel in June with my parents and all the kids. It's going to be such a great trip, and I'm actually really excited to go there. I want to show you guys.
You haven't been there in so long.
It's been a long fucking time. What I want to do is show you guys how I see Israel, because you don't see that when you listen to Hassan and you hear all these fucking mega lefties talking about it like it's some super.
Either Idubbbz went straight to the snarks, or he got this straight from Noah's video. He went straight to the snarks, or he got that straight from Noah's video, because Noah's video, I like either Noah got this from the snarks, or he painstakingly went out of his way to find this exact moment so that he can then take it out of context to paint Ethan Klein as an Israeli, genocide state supporter.
Racist, crazy,
right there, like he attempts to imply that Ethan Klein is like a genocide Israeli state supporter. Okay, so I'm very curious to see what Idubbbz is going through, is going here with this.
He's talking about it not on Leftovers. He's now talking about it on his podcast.
What I want to do is show you guys how I see Israel, because you don't see that when you listen to Hassan and you hear all these fucking
That's true, QQ.
It's some super racist, crazy, Jim
okay.
Crow style of
No. He's definitely using the Noah Samson fucking point. He's definitely using the Noah Samson point, QQ. He's Idubbbz, you fucking disgusting freak, dude. I hope that this guy's credibility goes to the fucking dirt. There is no way he fell for this bullshit. There is no way. There is no way that he's doing the fucking Noah Samson, let's fucking mask an entire group of fucking people. Let's mask an entire country as being genocidal. Yeah, okay, Idubbbz. I wonder where you got that talking point
Jim
from.
Crow style
Idubbbz.
society.
I wonder
Like, I can't
where
wait to
you
show
got
you
that
guys
from, pal.
How beautiful, how multicultural, how like free it feels.
These people are so fucking easy. These people are so fucking easy to predict. These people are so fucking easy to see through.
Like, I can't wait to show you guys.
The other day, BB fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
So Ethan is having this back and forth with...
Out of context, by the way. Out of context. Really good guy. They themselves weren't educated and they had to retract that claim. They had to retract that statement. What a fucking... Idubbbz in the past complained about people being uninformative and not presenting the entire truths, okay? He complained that in his fucking, what's it called? Keemstar Content Cop. And now him, not including the entirety of the fucking story for some of these clips or the entirety of the context to, like, properly, like, make arguments here. It's completely insane. He's taking cheap, very narrativized, very, like, you know, hand-picked, selectively chosen shots here. He's not actually, like, you know, he's not actually making any criticisms. He's just running with the fucking same shit that appeals to people.
His liberal audience, leftist people online, progressive content creators, Hassan, all of these different people. He's finding new people every day, basically, to get in fights with.
Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb, Frogan and Denims and all these dipshits, and everybody thinks this guy's awesome, apparently. Even though he looks like Milhouse, fucking dork. Denims, by the way, was the real villain of the video. Evil, hateful, fucking... And I'll say it and I'll double down on it. And
He's right. Ethan is just right. Idubbbz, if you never watched, like, fucking, you know, a Denims video or ever done a criticism on Denims, which I have, by the way, which I personally have. I've researched into Denims. I have like done a lot of research into her, and I've written a lot of points for her. You would understand that picking Denims and like in this fight, picking Denims as your dog isn't the best decision because she is like a very uninformed fucking moron.
people, no, not go there.
And it's all culminated, at least for my story, in Ethan.
Do you know someone who can make Idubbbz look like Frankenstein?
Since Ethan
probably.
and Hassan's falling out, I've been keeping to myself mostly. I don't have many nice things to say. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace and we can...
Maybe if he stops harassing other creators. Okay, Idubbbz, you wanna play that game? You wanna play that game, Idubbbz? Let's play that game real quick. So, in the previous video that Noah Samson made, Noah Samson directly cites Bad Empanada, who happens to be a fucking, like, you know, unhinged ass individual, unhinged individual who not only has defended atrocities in some of these videos. Keep in mind, I'm not gonna discount everything that Bad Empanada says. Sometimes he can be correct, but regardless, this completely he like Noah Samson completely like this completely fucking unhinged, right? Noah Samson, completely like unhinged individual, citing this completely unhinged individual who has, you know, who has falsely accused Ethan Klein of so many different things, including endangering his own children, who has, like, you know, labeled Ethan Klein as so many different things, right? This person who has in the past attempted to dox and harass other individuals and threaten other individuals. You wanna fucking support these talking points. You wanna support these creators while they astroturf and support this fucking disgusting creature who also harasses other creators and fucking like and accuses Ethan Klein of doing the worst things possible. Way to choose your fucking battles, you fucking, like, you absolute coward. That's so disgusting to me. That's so disgusting to me.
Like, rekindle our friendship. So that's been my approach. I've occasionally thrown a joke Ethan's way in the form of Hassan Piker versus Ethan Klein for boxing.
I like Idubbbz. He's a good guy, but I don't like this way. It's stupid. It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like, this guy's evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. And also, he's way out of my weight class.
He didn't like that, but fucking sometimes you gotta just throw something.
All right, come on, dude. It wasn't that serious. Let's be real.
Out there. I used to work with this video editor named Froggy Tonic. I discovered him because
he's a complete fucking retard, by the way. He's a complete retard. If you don't acknowledge that, I'm just going to assume that you're fucking washed by association. I covered this guy. Some of the stuff that he was preaching. And let's just say, is that this guy believes everything that is fucking fed down his throat. So long as it appeals to his leftist ideology, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with being left-leaning, okay? To be clear. But he believes, like, straight up misinformation. sometimes even disinformation. He tried plugging a video that was just chocked full with misinformation, which I also covered a couple weeks ago. I believe QQ was there for that. But regardless, this guy, I swear to God, man, if you don't properly criticize this guy, if you're seriously just going, if you're seriously just playing team sports and not looking into yourself, not auditing any of these fucking people that you're like, you know, that you align yourself with, then that's how you know Idubbbz is completely fucking washed.
Circles online that I was in, and one of those circles is an H3 fan. He watched Ethan's content, he liked Ethan's content until he didn't like Ethan's content. There would be an occasional froggy tweet where I'd be like, I agree with that, you know, like I'm not going to endorse it, I'm not going to retweet it or like it, but
And your audience and a semantic competition over a petty-year-old I'm right, you're wrong obsession you cannot get over. Is that the right strategy? Stop tormenting yourself, man. Listen to Hassan. I agree with this, actually. You know what? Tell you what, I agree with this. I do agree with this. Ethan Klein does get obsessively involved in some petty fucking bullshit sometimes. I can agree with this. But what I can't agree with is him like fucking regurgitating snark talking points after the fact. Because he fell into the Ethan the anti-Ethan is online fucking pipeline.
but fair enough.
I guess I just missed my old friend.
Shut up, Lumpy Willie. Stop trying to one guy me, brah, or you're banned.
That brings us to February 28th
You're banned.
of this year. Now, my former editor of a year and a half ago
That's
did
not true,
say
by the
some
way.
truly mean shit.
Lumpy
He
Willie.
called Hila the C word. He said they're trying to kill their dog with cheddar cheese.
But what I mean is like what Lumpy Willie's saying isn't true because he's just fucking. He's just taking something. He's making something a joke that happened yesterday. But regardless,
shit, I'm sure. Ethan, at some point, discovers that Idubbbz' former editor says this horrendous shit about him and Hila. But no one's asking the question, where does Ethan get this information from? You see, it would be very obviously a problem.
Nobody's asking the question, where is Ethan getting this information from? Idubbbz, where are you getting your information from? Who's feeding you your points?
Discovering this content by scrolling through Twitter, looking for something to upset himself with. He has maybe set it up in such a way where his employees feel the need to send him this information. And that would be horrible. They shouldn't be doing that. They should be sending you things that are entertaining for your show that don't fucking trigger the hell out of you. Why is there so much work being put into discovering this guy on Twitter who's barely getting any interactions, linking him to me and posting on the Reddit when there's no—
Okay, he wasn't getting barely any interactions. Way to misframe that. Hold on, let me see if I can find that person's initial original tweet. He wasn't getting barely any interactions. He wasn't getting barely any interactions at all. Let me see if I can find his initial tweet. Give me one moment. Give me one moment. I gotta go back. I gotta go back and find it. Hold up. We them boys. It's gonna be way too much dead air right now. But I don't believe that he was getting barely any interaction. Yeah, he wasn't getting barely any interaction. He got like 13 to 20,000 impressions on that, if not a little bit more. Because I'm going off of recent stuff, and he keeps getting So this is him making fun. This is Froggy Tonic making fun of one of Ethan Klein's employees, right? just a little soy jack meme. Just a little soy jack meme. No big deal. 92,000 views, right? 92,000 impressions. That's not barely any interaction. Okay, that's not barely any interaction. Give me one moment. I'm trying to find the exact fucking tweet that caused this outrage. Oh wait, here's him. Here's Ethan Klein. Well, not him. Here's him making fun of Ethan because he does this quite often. He makes fun of Ethan and the people associated with him quite often. This is him making fun of Ethan Klein and the tattoo he got of his wife. Right, 5,000 is barely anything. I would agree. But 5,000 is still enough to like perturb some people. I would say, right? Not to say that Ethan Klein wasn't being petty, because he absolutely was. But anyways, that's more to say that he doesn't get barely any interactions. He knows what he's doing, and he understands that he gets attention by doing it. This isn't hard to figure out. So to be clear, Idubbbz is misrepresenting this entirely. I'll check it in a second. Idubbbz is misrepresenting this entirely.
Work being put into who the fuck is the person on the Reddit who's posting this in the first place. If you do a little bit of research, it seems like it's an account whose intention is to make Ethan crash out. One of the users on the Snark Reddit points this out.
Oh wow. But is that wow, Idubbbz, it's almost as if they do that fucking obsessively with Ethan Klein, and you just don't understand that because you've disconnected yourself from this entirely, and you probably shouldn't be talking about the issue if you don't fully comprehend it yourself.
They're like, I've seen this account before. This account has scraped its history, and it's now trying to make Ethan burn bridges. This is within Ethan's own community. Like, this is the thing that he needs to be critical of. It's not me. So yes, I am willing to admit that my former editor was being very nasty.
That's probably like, you know, severely cherry picked. I would love to, like, you know, cross reference. I'm not going to touch too much on it, but I could see this being the case of somebody pointing out, like, you know, consistent patterns of people like just fucking, you know, flaking Ethan in every corner, such as Idubbbz.
Uncharitable and fucked up towards Ethan and Hila on Twitter. But
okay, Idubbbz W immediately ruined by the but.
Are doing the same shit on their podcast. So I don't want to fucking hear it.
Terrorist supporter.
The CEO of Twitch.
Pedophile.
Now I'm going to.
Okay, out of context. But I can agree. Ethan Klein does take shots that are too heavy. You know what? This is a good point by Idubbbz. I wouldn't have used the out of context clips, right? But I do agree with Idubbbz. That is a very good point, right? He gets mad when these people criticize him, but Ethan Klein, well, not criticize him, but they are incredibly bad faith and charitable and make up, like, you know, straight up bad assumptions all the time. But what Ethan should be doing isn't like fucking reacting so viciously to each and every one of these attacks. He should definitely, like the CPS stuff. It was an entirely different beast, okay? When his children got, like, CPS called on them, that was an entirely different beast. And some people even, like, fucking paraded it and congratulated it when it occurred. Some people were really proud that it occurred. But I can agree for the most part that there are some petty things that Ethan Klein should just not be, like, interacting with or even, like, taking shots at. It's completely stupid. So I can mostly agree with what Idubbbz is presenting in these couple of minutes.
To watch and respond to the two podcast streams where Ethan and Hila call us spineless cowards.
Anyway, this guy was saying shit like that Hila's a Nazi, that she kills kids, that she went on, like, she's like a IDF baby killer, all this types of shit. And that's showing up right up on us Nisa's and Idubbbz feed. My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
You don't know what's on my feed. What the fuck is happening? For all you know, I only use the For You tab. For all you know, I only use...
I mean, for all we know, he could have literally DM'd you and asked you to, like, get this guy in control.
Lists. For all you know.
Also, like he's also lying here. I think he's also lying here. It might be like, well, he might not be lying, or he might be lying. It's one or the other. Because in this video, in like the video that Ethan Klein made about hold on, and the video that Idubbbz made, what was their podcast? What was their podcast? I need to find their podcast real quick. Where is their podcast? In the podcast that they made, fuck, what is it called? What is the fucking podcast called? It's called Maximum Damage. Okay. In this podcast, they literally directly acknowledged that there was stuff being flung around when they addressed Ethan Klein. Where was it? Nope. Twitter beef, best comments, stream scenario. Where was it? Where the fuck was it? Where was it? Hold on. I don't know which ones it is. I don't know which one it was. But on their podcast, they literally acknowledged that they understood that Ethan Klein was being, like, dragged through the mud. And that and basically their entire you know, take was that Ethan Klein should just learn to ignore it. I can't find it. Oh, I don't like this guy, but
Cool.
Okay.
but they literally, in this podcast, they literally acknowledge that Ethan Klein was
This is for a very specific.
was being, like, you know, was being fucking smeared. So either he's saying that at the time he didn't know, or he's claiming that he didn't know at all. Period. Up until like, you know, Ethan Klein made a comment about it. But either way, I'm willing to not believe it because they directly acknowledge it here in this podcast.
Big subset of people who are very upset at my DMs.
Yeah. So, Ethan's upset with I think some of our connections, and, you know, we've tried to reach out to Ethan to talk privately.
Okay, yeah, immediately. Thank fucking God. Thank fucking God for actually presenting it immediately in the video.
An impact.
So either he's straight up lying here, or he's only acknowledging that he didn't know the day of the tweet, or he didn't know the day of the, like, you know, of the concern that Ethan had. But he's just being, like, straight up dishonest here.
I'm seeing these things tweeted out by my editor of a year and a half ago and saying, God, that is nasty. I'm just not going to throw someone away because they're having a parasocial weird moment. Just like I'm not going to throw Ethan Klein away because he's having a parasocial weird crash out.
How many women I fucked? Hassan, by the way, thousands. Yeah, thousands. Let me ask Galia. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry.
Like here's another thing, and you could criticize. You could take like a super far left position here, and I'm being jokey, by the way. I'm being jokey because I'm trying to like make fun of like like the stereotypical SJW libtard that people would typically make fun of. But anyways, that's besides the point. You could do some bullshit and criticize Idubbbz from like a position that he's from, like the position that he's with, right, which happens to be the Hassan side of saying, well, who are you to comment on like the beef between two individuals that are like that obviously have cultural and racial racial like beef, right? Because that's really what it is. Ethan believes that Hassan is anti-Semitic, and that he wants and Hassan wants like Israel to like face ramifications for their genocide, right? Like who is Idubbbz? Somebody who is not connected into any of this to like get in between two people that have like their own cultural identities clashing. Does that make any sense? You know what I mean? Like, who is Idubbbz to really insert himself this? It's like the guy isn't really checking his privilege, Okay, that was mostly a joke statement, I have to be clear. But it is a little bit irrational. It is a little bit irrational for Idubbbz to insert himself in what is a more than personal beef. It is an identity beef at the end of the day. Right, it is an identity beef at the end of the day. Like I understand why he feels attacked 100%, given the anti-Semitism that is caused, by by Hassan not being too not like choosing his words carefully, being a little bit too aggressive in his coverage. And I can also understand, Hassan, being personally attacked due to his due to his background and having an association with Muslims and Arabs. I can definitely see that being the case. I can definitely sympathize with both of them. But Idubbbz, he's just going like strictly to one side.
Thank God. Hassan's the type of dude who watches himself in the mirror when he has sex.
Watching me on a 30-second delay on your stream.
Wait, how does he know I'm watching already?
Because you've been talking about it for the last 5 minutes.
It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. These shoes.
It is a petty beef. It is a petty beef at the end of the day. Like I understand the qualms and the concerns, but Ethan Klein, it is hard to say that that everything with Ethan Klein isn't petty, okay? Because I've known about Ethan Klein since like the very beginning, back in the day. Most of his content and most of his operation on YouTube has always felt and has always been very, very petty.
Go. I'm sorry.
There are many people, I'm sure, who have unfollowed you for the things that you have said and done. And I'm sure there are even more people who have stayed following you because they don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. They don't want to throw someone away because they've had some hard moments. We're all fucking human.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why?
Okay. Ironic coming from me, but like there is a limit. There is a limit to like how many times you can just let something slide, okay? There is a limit to like how many times you can let something slide before it isn't petty anymore.
Because they'll get murdered.
And what you're saying to me is that I'm a bad friend and I'm a piece of shit. I'm spineless. I'm cowardly because I am following someone on Twitter.
Yeah, no. Not because you're following someone on Twitter, but because you're willing to fucking like completely disregard any connection you've had with Ethan Klein, and you're completely just ignoring all of the issues that are plaguing him right now, and instead decide to remain silent because you were made aware. You were made aware, right? You were made aware, and now you're pretending like you were just following somebody on Twitter. Completely fucking dishonest bullshit right here.
Because they have mobilized such an insane harassment group. It's not bad enough that I have this group of people harassing me and everyone in my life. It's that people outside of this group, journalists, creators, are actively participating in this gaslighting to make it seem like I'm fucking crazy.
I mean, I don't know what he's getting at.
I mean, that's true. That is literally just true, okay? You could see this all over Snark. You can see this all over, like, you can see this on certain fucking, like, articles. If I could, like, remember one off the top of my head right now, like, I've remembered everything else so far, I would. But that's just genuinely true.
Here, like, yeah, people are gaslighting you. A lot of people gaslit me when I apologized.
Oh wow, I'm not going to take anything you're doing into consideration because look at me, I'm also struggling. Dude, what a fucking pathetic. This is Idubbbz, okay? This is really just Idubbbz. Idubbbz is a fucking selfish, self-caring, self-serving individual. I would be surprised if anybody would want to be friends after with this guy after this.
Actually, like the #1 type of harassment I got was people gaslighting me and taking my newfound woke ideology to its extreme.
I've probably done and stood by Idubbbz and Anissa more than anybody. I've stood by them when all the internet hated them.
I don't like that
I think that's true. I think that's true.
Ethan brought this up because it
I agree. I just agree. That there is no reason to hold something over, like, there is no reason to hold something like that over somebody's head at all. There is no reason to. It is incredibly petty fucking behavior. Unnecessary. I agree. Just on that single part alone, I agree.
makes the relationship feel very transactional. Like, you know, we're just meant to support each other online despite our own personal
I just agree. I just agree.
morals or principles.
He's right.
But I'll say this, I don't think they're fucking any friends of mine. And certainly I don't think they're any fucking friends of mine based on the text conversation I had with them too before I even talked about it. So I have nothing, like I don't need any fucking
text conversation that we had about it before. So he did know. So he did know. And he's just lying. or he's just being honest about not seeing it at the time. One or the other.
I thought the text conversation that I had with him was very empathetic. I basically just said, like, I know you and Hila are experiencing a ton of harassment, and I essentially empathize with that, and I think there's something positive to get out of the conversation. But he refused to talk on the phone unless I was willing to publicly say something about my former editor and denims. As much as you don't want halfway friends, I also don't want that kind of halfway friend.
That's a very poor way of framing this. You just don't want to be put in a position where you have to, like, you know, also bite other people that you're amicable with. I understand, and I think Idubbbz is entitled to that. I think Idubbbz is entitled to that, right? So I can definitely I think this is fair. I think this is fair, actually. For Ethan Klein to expect somebody else to, like, you know, fucking snark somebody else, to bite somebody else because of your own fucking personal issues that you have, you know, with a mutual person that you guys both know, is kind of bullshit. But to be fair, this guy is kind of a lunatic. Okay, this guy is kind of a lunatic. I understand where Idubbbz is coming from here, and as a matter of fact, I think Idubbbz is completely within his right not to, like, you know, like, take a position here. Absolutely. But then you got to take into consideration. The fact that what is happening here is that Idubbbz is like that Ethan Klein at the time was facing, like, the CPS scandal, right? Which he's still neglecting to mention. Which I can assume is magnitudes, and I mean magnitudes of levels above, you know, like the typical stress that you get from just people gossiping on you. Because you even though the risk is minimal, there was still the slight chance that he could have lost his children at the request or, like, you know, at the movement of snark Redditors. It's fucking insane. It's absolutely insane how you're, like, unwilling to, like, you know, acknowledge that even in this video, or even in the, you know, in the podcast, like absolutely, you, like, in a situation that grave, you should probably want to, like, say something about it and be like, hey, maybe we should tone down, like, the amount of, like, you know, heat that we throw across to each other, right? So like, while I would agree on a typical circumstance that he's absolutely well within his right to not bite somebody else because of, you know, beef that other people have, this is just a drastically different situation.
I don't want someone who's going to give me, like, an ultimatum to have a conversation.
Could you not say something when this is like, imagine, like, one of you guys is like, Hassan actually wants to go to Gaza so he can strangle Israeli babies or some shit like that. I'd be like, you imagine me not saying something.
You're trying to.
Why isn't he wearing a cop suit? Why isn't he wearing a cop suit? Because it's obvious that he didn't actually plan to do a full content cop
comparison where there isn't one. This guy that I follow on Twitter is not in the same relationship as you and one of your current employees who is streaming with you 3 days a week, 3 hours a day for the past 10 years. At one point during the stream, Ethan and Hila bring up Adam McIntyre. Now, Adam does...
I agree. You know, I agree. That is like a false equivalency. Then, like, to draw that comparison is kind of, you know, loony.
Basically,
like, somebody's obviously going to have, like, a lot more loyalty to you and probably watch how, you know, they talk about other people, especially how like, you know, depending on how connected they are with you, to avoid, like, stirring the pot, like, especially if they've been your employee for, like, you know, nearly a decade. I agree with that. He's just right. The Adam McIntyre part, I wasn't expecting him to come up here, but this is going to be really fucking juicy because this guy, Adam McIntyre, is such a dishonest fucking loser that we've called like his strategy a McIntyre, or at least I've called his strategy a McIntyre. And like he presents something as evidence that doesn't actually prove anything. It's not actually evidence. And then he spins a narrative out of the thing that he presents, leads other people to believe that it is in fact what is being said, or that it is in fact what had occurred, and then gaslights everybody into believing, like, the narrative that he spun, and then gets mad when people start believing the narrative. I call that a McIntyre. And there's a lot of good examples of this.
Do the same thing as my former editor. He's critical of Ethan and Hila, and he is sometimes uncharitable and nasty towards them.
Adam McIntyre needs to just like disappear.
Okay, he's right. He's just right. Now I swear to God here, if Idubbbz points out the same fucking criticism that Adam McIntyre did, because she's about to say Adam McIntyre just needs to disappear. Adam McIntyre went out of his way in one of his videos to claim that Hila Klein was being derogatory because disappear is a specific fucking derogatory term used against Irish people who were disappeared, right? When the reality is that you could use the term disappeared for just about any fucking individual that has ever existed who has been disappeared by any government agency across the world. It's not exclusive to Irish people. But Adam McIntyre goes on to make it appear as if, Hila Klein was being derogatory.
Piece of shit, like, of the lowest order. I never even stood by him when he talked bad about Trisha having a kid and called him, like, the spawn of Satan. He was supposedly on our side. I would never even co-sign that. I was disgusted by that statement, too. I remember when he called her kid the spawn of Satan.
I never said anything.
And I was supposed to be, like, cheering on, but I wasn't going to cheer that on. That's disgusting.
Why do you forget that he called her children, which is something we would never do, the spawn of Satan?
It's disgusting.
And
piece of shit of a human.
It's just incredible who ends up being the good guys in this story, you know? It's really something.
Unfortunately, they never made a statement. They never said that they disagree with his statements about Trisha's baby until it's useful. Like, what is it, 3 years later? Like, I mean, you're talking about it like you were...
Oh, I see. It's a hypocrisy argument. Again, Idubbbz, you want to talk about false equivalencies. You can't compare the situation to a situation where Ethan Klein was being accused of fucking, essentially leading to his dog's death during a situation when he was when he was also being accused of being negligent towards his children. Okay? It does not compare.
Of it at the time, and that there was some amount of pressure or
well, you could compare them, but the severity isn't nearly the same in either instance.
For you to get down with that, and what it sounds like to me is that you did see it at the time, and you were like, ooh, I don't like that, and you didn't endorse it, and you didn't fuck with it. Huh. It's almost like that is a fucking identical situation.
It is not an identical situation. What are you talking about? Wait. Does this guy just not know anything? Does this guy just not know? It is not an identical situation. Why would you shoot yourself in the foot like this, you fucking moron?
Guys in this story, it's really something.
So yeah, the reason I'm bringing this up is because they're trying to like paint themselves as the good guys, and they're saying like, yeah, we strongly disavow things that are said, even about our enemies. We are the most immoral people on the internet, unlike Ian and Anissa.
I can agree with this point. This is a fair point. Ethan Klein does try to pretend like he's on a significantly higher moral ground than everybody else. That is something that he's been doing for as long as I've known of his existence, I believe.
Who are fucking keeping to themselves. Also, why the fuck does Olivia get the pass?
What a fucking asshole for putting you in that position, Olivia. You're friends with him, and you don't have to say anything, but like, what a fucking piece of shit. What a bad friend to put you in that position just for some fucking clout. It gets people angry at you, like, oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is total.
This is an Idubbbz W. This is an Idubbbz W, okay? I have to be fair. This is an Idubbbz W right here.
Bullshit, okay? Olivia did not do anything.
I want the pass. Do I have to be an employee to get that treatment? Because then you'll just see me as an ally? Or is it because Ethan is afraid of wrongful termination accusations and lawsuits?
And also, I don't mind putting my friend Olivia.
Okay, come on, dude. Come on. There's literally no evidence to even suggest or try to allude to the fact that that Ethan Klein has been wrongfully terminating individuals.
Apparently my real friend in a terribly weird fucking uncomfortable situation where you end up getting hate for no reason.
Also, don't frame it as like other people making it hard on Olivia. You're making it hard on all of these people. Please acknowledge your role in this whole fucking thing. Like, it's crazy how warm Ethan is to Olivia and saying how...
I can agree with that. I can only imagine it would be a fucking nightmare to work underneath an individual who gets so much flack because they're so petty. Right? Like, don't get me wrong. He had all the right to lash out during the CPS stuff. It is well within his right to do so. But there are so many instances of Klein just being such a petty, vindictive individual where sometimes people that are connected to him get shit back for it. I would hate to be like in a position where I have to take shit for the actions of a vindictive fucking moron like Ethan Klein.
Olivia is essentially just a victim.
I would
of this
hate to
whole
work
thing.
so
It gets people angry at you,
like
oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is total bullshit.
But me and Anissa are spineless. Ethan, your whole system is scrambled.
Yes, you're spineless. You are spineless. The first, literally, even if it wasn't for some of these points that you clarified or that you argued against, you are a spineless individual for a good, for a couple of other things here.
My intention isn't to throw the employees under the bus. Like, you guys serve as the fucking foundation for calling out Ethan's hypocrisy on the whole subject. And I know
Man, I love
probably
spending my
pushed back
evening
against
criticizing soy dubs. I'm saying, dude. I'm saying.
over the years. How often are you supposed to do that? Do you have to do that every fucking week? It kind of seems like it. And that's exhausting. I don't want to confront my boss. It's not my fucking job to confront my
I
boss
agree.
and say, today's
He's just right here. He is just right here. Okay, that is a fair point.
segment on rapists and pedophiles on Twitch was not like not my favorite segment to be a part of.
Yeah, friends like these.
Oh yeah, and our other good friends.
Yeah.
Anissa and Ian. Thanks, Anissa, for standing up for your girl. I actually stood up for you so many times because, like, why would I not? It was crazy.
This, yeah. Like, again, I can criticize Hila for this because this type of transactional friendship bullshit just doesn't work. This just doesn't work. Okay, if your relationships are transactional, I'm sorry, but you don't actually have relationships. You have exchanges.
Crazy.
Yeah, why would you not? I mean, if that's truly what you believed and you weren't just going to use it later.
Of course I was going to stand by you. That's insane. It's absolutely insane and disgusting. But now you choose to hang out with people that would have a problem with you if you defended me.
I'm not going to assume that Hila knows.
That is some very childish, petty behavior. That is some extremely childish and petty behavior. I can agree with that. But again, they've always been like that. That's not to retract from any of Idubbbz like criticisms here. He's just right. He's just right. But if you're making a content cop, you probably shouldn't be airing out your personal grievances. But you know what? I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide because even Idubbbz, as much as I dislike him for being a fucking moron, is entitled to a fair like representation of himself. He is entitled to say his piece. So I would say that these are very good points. I'm just being a little bit callous.
But I'll say it for anyone who doesn't know, Anissa is half Lebanese and half Irish. For anyone unfamiliar, the Irish have been on the receiving end of a lot of oppression and genocide. On the part of the Lebanese, they've received a lot of oppression and attacks from the
Okay, now you immediately fucking lost me. Now he's making it a fucking... now he's pulling a Hassan and he's making it a fucking... Oh my god. He's making it an identity fucking battle. Okay, he's making it an identity thing. Jesus fucking Christ, Idubbbz.
Yeah, so Anissa is very well familiar with the propaganda and the shit coming out of Israel. Choosing now, out of all the times, to be like, please defend me. No, we're not gonna fucking defend you.
Rudy was saying that...
Well, at least you own up to it. Right? You know what? He's entitled to that. As shitty as it is, okay? Given like the identity stuff. As shitty as it is to say, he is entitled to that. Okay, he is entitled to that. I was being mean. I was being mean for not a really good reason right here. Right? I made a commentary about how these people are in conflict with each other because of like identity issues that they got. Like their identities conflict between Ethan and Hassan. And it would be kind of ironic for him to like insert himself in something that he doesn't really understand that well. But you know what? This part here in regards to his wife not sticking up for Hila Klein in a time where people just get so much fucking hate for stuff like that, I can understand. Why would you subject yourself to that? It's very unfortunate because on one hand you have to weigh like being a good person by sticking up for your friends, and on the other hand you have to weigh being like a more neutral person by just going about your own way and not sticking your neck out for something that will get you a lot of bullshit. And given the fact that I am willing to like give Idubbbz a little bit of fairness and give him his dues, I think he is completely well within his right. Right? If you don't believe in transactional relationships, he is well within his right to do this. They are well within his right to just not do anything.
Are taught at 2 years old to kill Americans. Do we have that
one? Like just the other day, BB fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
He looked mean. I thought he was mean just because he looked mean.
No. It's not.
So yes, you caught us. We're not gonna run to your defense when, I don't know, we follow people. We be following. That's one fucked up thing that you can say about Anissa and I is when we're on Twitter, we do be following.
So
we do be following.
Okay, if you want to hang out with those people and have no spine and not stand up for another girl that stood up for you, enjoy your new friends.
She's friends with people like Denim.
This is such fucking petty bullshit. This is the type of shit that I fucking hate from like Ethan and Hila Klein. Like this is why I say that I don't like Ethan, but I'm willing to bat for him because there are some situations that can be defended that Ethan are a part of, right? But they've always had this very vindictive, very petty, dislikable behavior about them that I just can't fucking get behind. And it absolutely deserves to be criticized one way or another.
I know, yeah.
Which I'll show. Dennis is actually participating in this whole Child Protective Service lie.
Yeah, and if you're friends with them, then you're seeing what they're saying.
You'll notice that Ethan and Hila start talking about this Denim's character. Originally, the complaint was about my former editor. He's been chatting shit about Ethan and Hila for the past year at least. They only care about it now because I guess it was spoon-fed to them via their Reddit that's clearly looking out for them. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, we are friends with Denim's, but I would say it's the same level of friendship that we had with Ethan and Hila. It's like kind of an internet friendship. We think that she's a good person, like we think.
Okay, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. It wasn't just kind of an internet friendship, right? But like Idubbbz and Ethan have Idubbbz and Ethan and Hila have met on multiple occasions. Okay, these people have been friends for like nearly 10 years. They worked on stuff together. they have like met in real life. I don't think you can point to a single instance besides a creator clash, where Idubbbz has like met with Denims to like be friends with her, or like to practice their friendship in person.
Ethan and Hila are good people. Kind of a tricky situation. How can you possibly think that they're both good people at their core? People can have crash out moments. People can say things that they don't mean. People can say things because they want internet clout and attention. I don't know. I think they're both probably guilty of saying things that they don't mean for internet clout and attention. Right now, one's a little bit more fucking nasty to me.
Yeah, I can agree, but you shouldn't be choosing your battles. You shouldn't be choosing like who you're going to criticize based on who's being who's being more like critical of you. Okay, that's very soy behavior. That's very soy behavior. Okay.
Then the other,
I can say
you
that.
can be my friend and also be friends with someone like that.
Well, you can't. So I already forgot about you.
I actually have a lot of friendships that are kind of that way, where it's like, one of the friends doesn't fuck with the other friend, but there is someone in the middle who kind of fucks with both of them, but separately. Yeah, there's a lot of friendships that are like that. I'm not gonna make you guys like meet up and kiss.
That's fair. That's fair. I literally made the same argument earlier. That is fair.
I get it. You guys are in fucking. You're either my best friend who's deep throating me to the base of my cock, or you are Satan. You're the devil.
The last thing I said to Anissa, we were texting before I ever talked about it. She's like, I don't care about this guy. He's a nobody, and blah blah blah. And I said, well, then you'll have no problem publicly denouncing it, right? And then from there, the conversation ended.
She never replied.
Ethan, you can't even phrase it in a way that doesn't make you sound like you're being coercive and shitty. Well, then you should have no problem publicly denouncing it, right? Does that sound like a friend?
Yeah, that is transactional. That is literally transactional. That is I can definitely get behind with the idea that that does sound a little bit manipulative, manipulative, right? But again, the stakes are significantly different here. Like the severity is significantly different, and he's just failing to consider that at the time Ethan Klein was going through the CPS turmoil. So like it would be nice to expect somebody else to somebody like you to be like, hey, could we all chill it down on like the snarking? Like I understand we all dislike each other, but like I understand where he's coming from. Not sticking your neck out for there, like not putting your neck on the line, right? But like the circumstances here is not just shit talk. It is not only shit talk. It is shit talk that has evolved past petty disagreements. It is shit talk that is affecting Ethan's personal life.
It kind of sounds like something.
So there are different modifiers here.
A powerful villain would say.
But it was so funny how she immediately went to comment everywhere, like on our subreddit. She immediately had to comment like, oh, he doesn't work with us anymore. But that was it. That's all she said.
But then say that you don't
Okay, do you have anything else to say for your friends though?
One of the reasons Anissa was so quick to clarify things in your Reddit is because your Reddit was already talking about who this editor is, and they were spreading misinformation that it was our co-host on our podcast, Uncle Dane. So yeah, the last thing we wanted is this guy getting pulled into this mess, and you guys don't give a fuck. Would it have been?
I mean, he's being fair here. Like a couple. I mean, Idubbbz is just being fair here. That's fine.
Nicer and more supportive to say we don't agree with the things he's saying and we support Ethan and Hila? Sure. Like, yeah, that would have been a nicer thing to say. Our silence means something. It means that we would like to pause this relationship until you figure your shit out, and then maybe we can find.
Okay, so like, I hate to say this because again, I acknowledge that Ethan Klein can be a very vindictive, very petty individual. Okay, I can acknowledge that. I hate to say this, but like that you're proving Ethan's point right. You're proving Ethan's point right. Like Ethan's point. Like I don't know if he acknowledges this, but Ethan's point is that like as transactional as it is that you being quiet during a situation like this, right, and not really speaking up and making your position clear, it to them is indicative of you like making a fucking not really, what's the word here, not really it is indicative of you of like not really valuing your friendship with Ethan Klein. That was Ethan's point, because you are a fair weather friend in his eyes, and what you're doing here is that you're basically admitting that, yeah, I was quiet, I'm not going to defend you because I don't think that I can be friends with you during a time where associating with you could drag me in and make me face a lot of fucking issues for simply just defending you, right? Which is ironic. Which is like I might have to retract some of the W's that I gave Idubbbz here based on what he's saying here, and the whole defense argument about him not wanting to defend them, because he's basically admitting to not wanting to be friends with this person out of these issues, because he could face scrutiny. Under the what let me phrase this very carefully. Because I'm trying to be fair. He's trying to do that. under like, you know, under like basically the premise that he doesn't want to like, you know, get bullshit from everybody else that they associate with. Like he doesn't want like, you know, risk his friendships, which is fine. Hold on, I need to fucking think of the point that I was trying to make. Oh yeah. But yeah, he's basically like, despite all of this, he's basically just proving Ethan's point right about him just being a fair weather friend. That ironically is also being transactional, because he's only going to be like friends with Ethan when the going is good rather than when the going is tough, right? He himself is participating in this transactional relationship. So a lot of these W's can be like discounted because he's also as transactional as he alleges Ethan Klein to be.
A moment in time, I don't know how long it'll be, but a moment in time in the future where things are a little bit easier to broach. I don't think we need to do it right now, but you've insisted.
So you are a transactional fair weather friend, is what you're admitting. You are a transactional fair weather friend, is what you're admitting. He's literally saying, yeah, right now we can't be friends with you, but at a later date, when things are a little bit better, when things are slightly better, we can be friends again. We can be friends again when things are slightly better later on, right? Right now, nah. But in the future, when you're cool and you bend to our way of thinking, when you bend to our like, you know, standards, then we'll be friends with you.
You've insisted that this is an important thing to address. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me on your Instagram story. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me and my wife on your podcast.
I agree. I mean, he is like, I can give this to Idubbbz.
Twice. I would be fine with you not brigading my comment section on my podcast that gets 3,000 views a week, because I prefer to not to do harassment campaigns and instead talk about Vampire's Kiss.
Like they say something like he doesn't work for me, and I strongly disagree, and I support Ethan and Hila. The problem is
that she doesn't.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
She actually
thinks they have a point.
That's the problem.
Yeah, so go fuck yourself.
I agree.
Go fuck yourself. What about your girl? This is what I'm talking about. This aggression that you're...
What about your girl? They haven't been friends with Trisha Paytas for literally, like, you know, I don't know how long. It's been over 5 years. Plus, Trisha Paytas is like actually an unhinged individual. What are you talking about?
Putting out into the world. What the fuck do you think we're gonna do? You think I'm gonna fucking sit on my hands when you do this shit? Like, this is nasty. We had such a fair response to what you guys were going through. We don't support her.
It wasn't a fair response. You literally shat all over their not only was Idubbbz hypocritical during his response, which I did happen to make a video on, by the way. I did happen to make a video on which goes over like their response to this. Not only did you fucking like shit all over like, you know, not only were you a hypocrite, it was this video. It was this video right here. Not only were you a hypocrite in that video, not sticking to the standards that you set for yourself, you know, all those years back, and like not only were you unable to acknowledge some of the things that you made very clear in some of your content cops, right? But you quite literally did not like recognize the severity of the situation. You simply like deflected from the situation at hand and said, Ethan Klein should not be addressing any of this. He should just be ignoring it. He should just be like us and get therapy and learn how to like not become a lolcow. Completely disregarding the issue at hand, which is that Ethan's personal life is being like messed with by like, you know, because of like the fucking constant vitriol being spewed by some of like, you know, by some of the people that you are attempting to like, you know, defend right now, by people like Denims, by people who you know fucking lied about Ethan Klein multiple times, by people like you know Soggy Tonic, who you know indicated around the same time that you know Ethan Klein negligently fucking led to his dog's death by like, you know, like bringing up talking points that Noah Samson brings up, right? Where Noah Samson is like also has like basically he's literally just defending like people that during the situation were completely unempathetic to Ethan Klein's issues, and if anything, they kind of perpetuated it even more. Given that nobody said, "Hey, this is wrong," we probably shouldn't be involving like, you know, real life somebody's real life into our beefs.
Harassment. It's a bad thing, but it happens, and you're perpetuating it.
You fucking propaganda.
It happens, and you're perpetuating it. That's not true. At least not to the extent that other people are.
Lying scumbag, terror supporter. He probably sets up a mirror and jerks off watching himself. Dan KKK Clancy has a similar view of Hitler.
This is not equivalent, okay? This is like yes, he can be very petty, very vindictive, but this is not equivalent to supporting a fucking, you know, serial harasser who like slanders you, defames you, and says like unhinged stuff about you, okay? It is not the same.
Because Dan Clancy, the Nazi, fucking anti-Semite,
You can't expect other people to stop harassing you if you continue to harass people. Let's think about it on a micro level. Have you ever been in a comment section and found someone to argue?
I can somewhat agree with this. But he's not doing this. He's not arguing it in the best way. If Ethan Klein were less petty, he would probably be getting like less, tilted and slanted eyes at him by like the overall, I want to say, community that goes into like the left side of Twitch politics, right? But he's not arguing in the best way possible. You could literally just say that his reactions for certain dramas are unnecessary, but given the CPS stuff, you could reasonably bite the bullet there and say, yeah, that was incredibly fucked up, and we should probably give Ethan Klein a little bit of like respect for the situation that he had to endure.
It doesn't stop. It can literally go on forever if you don't want to touch grass.
I mean, yeah, this was kind of like a line, what happened today, that should never be crossed, even by like the most cynical, toxic people. It's going to have ramifications in terms of how I conduct myself, in terms of these fair weather friends who are, so happy to be friends as long as they're getting something out of it.
Ethan, that is a rich thing to say.
No, like the fact that he's even like getting into this without acknowledging like the fucking, the other modifiers at hand here. Such as the fact that CPS was called to his house and his children were potentially at risk of being taken away from his home, right? You're failing to acknowledge this. You're not mentioning any of this, Richard, he's hyper focusing on this event. On this event, not even understanding and still fucking dodging the fact that yes, Ethan Klein in this situation had every fucking right to be as vindictive as he was, given the fact that his children were at the time his children were visited by CPS, and he very much had a fear that his children could have been taken away from him.
You're the H3 podcast, okay? There's a lot of friends of the show. There's even more fair weather friends of the show. Let's not get into this shit, okay? That is so bizarre and insulting to suggest that I would.
Okay, look, yes, that's true. Yes, that's true. But even people who weren't Ethan's friends during this time even people who fucking are political enemies with Ethan Klein came out to defend him, given the fucking harsh circumstances at stake and how many people were fucking building up and bandwagoning off of the fucking CPS, off of the CPS call. This is completely fucking unhinged. It's like this guy is completely disconnected, or he didn't do any research, or he's willingly just being fucking ignorant of the circumstances that occurred.
To get something out of it. No, I'm friendly with you, and I'd say I'm a light friend because it's been pleasant hanging out with you. I've enjoyed your content over the years, and as of late, it's gotten really fucking shitty.
Yeah, so go fuck yourself.
Okay, so he's being transactional. He's just doubling down on the transactional stuff that he mentioned earlier. It's no longer good. I used to be friends with you because it was mutually beneficial, but now that it's not mutually beneficial, I can't be friends with you. Okay, Idubbbz, you're a fucking snake. Is what you are. You can't even practice your own fucking standards, bro. You can't even practice your own standards of being non-transactional. Either he worded this extremely shittily, or this is exactly how he feels. One or the other. And I'm unwilling to say that this is exactly how he feels. But if it is, way to fucking throw away every single good argument that you said here by basically admitting that you're a snake.
I agree.
Who else? Who else do we want to burn today?
Who else do we want to burn today? You're making it so fucking obvious that this is your emotional dumping ground. It's horrible. This is not what podcasts are. There was a way to approach us to say oh yeah, we feel hurt.
This is in your emotional dumping ground. This isn't what podcasts are. I'm sorry, but I don't think that you can say this. I don't think that you can say this judging by your standards of of bringing up evidence and cross-analyzing it. Because if you want to use a one-off example, we can use maybe a couple of one-off examples of Idubbbz also being emotional on his podcast and venting about current issues.
Hurt by you guys not saying something. You've decided to do the extra thing and attack. Now, in fairness, I am attacking back. But I feel very insulted, and I feel defensive, and I feel like I am speaking up for a lot of people who have problems with you. And
No, you're not. No, you're not. This is obviously a very personally driven issue. You definitely should not have made this video. You definitely should not have made this video. Back to my initial tweet. Idubbbz is going to make a content comp on H3H3, trying to hit the same notes as H3's Saw Nuke. It's going to include their friendship issues and ultimately fall flat because Idubbbz will look like a pandering moron who flakes on people. This will more than likely be a self-nuke. That is exactly what it's turning out to be.
A lot of people who have been on the receiving end of your harassment.
It's so easy to be anti-racist. Everybody's anti-racist. Racism is the worst thing in the world, right? We fucking hate racists. Fuck racists.
Microaggressions.
The minute that they actually have to stick their neck out for somebody, the minute they have to actually risk something to put themselves in under scrutiny, to sacrifice something.
You shouldn't expect your friends to, like, you know, put themselves in a sacrificial position, as Ethan Klein goes on to say. This is just not a good this isn't a good expectation to have of people. Like sure, like I might reach a point in time where I might have to stick my neck out for somebody like that, you know, a friend like that, and I might just deny it because I don't feel like putting myself in a situation like this. But and it might make me hypocritical. But this is just not an expectation that you should have of somebody, right? There might be a point in time where I would expect somebody to do the same thing for me. But I'm willing to acknowledge that would just be incredibly hypocritical of me.
Personally to stand up for racism, then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I don't want to get involved.
And that's drama.
How much do you care?
I don't do drama.
How much do you actually care? Isn't that the whole point? Like,
I realize that Ethan and Hila are more scared now than they've probably ever been. I feel like.
Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why that is, Idubbbz. I wonder why they're more scared now than they've ever been.
Like, anti-Semitism is a thought in their heads now more than ever, and it's not completely unjustified to be thinking about that sometimes.
Okay, it's not just because of the anti-Semitism. What's that thing that you're just neglecting to mention, Idubbbz? What's that crucial thing that really set a mother and a father on overdrive recently? What is that thing? What is that crucial event that occurred? And who was it perpetuated by, Idubbbz? What was it? I wonder.
You guys are just hurt, and you're kind of like dancing around and making very like loose, poorly thought out analogies for something that doesn't even apply to us. It's like me making this video is the standing up for something, and it's saying fuck you. You guys are being bad. You know.
Me making this video is standing up for something, and it's fuck you. You guys are being bad. No, it's literally just spitting in their faces when they expected support during, like, you know, one what I would say is probably one of like the more difficult moments they've had to experience on the internet in the past couple of years.
I don't think you're bad people, but you're being bad. You're behaving poorly. You're hurting people.
I mean, go back to civil rights. You think that the people who are like the white kids...
I mean, I can agree that they're behaving people, but the way that he like leads up to it just falls incredibly flat, giving like all of his fucking negligence.
Who are protesting with the black students, you think that they were
or
just
ignorance?
Like,
It's
not
probably a better
anything?
way to like probably a better way to word
marching
this.
with the black students, and
so in Ethan's analogy, he's the black student and I'm the white student, but I'm the white student that's not, you know, marching by his side. I'm not doing the difficult thing. You're gonna have to march on your own, black student.
Marching with the black students. And,
I mean, why is it inspiring?
Great fucking stuff.
Why is it inspiring?
Well, and it's the same thing, to bring it back to this song just because, but it kind of is the same thing. Like, I was thinking about going to Gaza until I found out it's dangerous.
Like
he's a total performative activist that doesn't give a single fuck about the cause.
It's been performed exquisitely, harassing one person and seamlessly transitioning into harassing another one. If anyone's been watching for the past fucking year, I'm pretty sure they have a good idea of your feelings about Hassan.
Like, people like Anissa are the perfect example because she's friends with these people. She's friends with Denims. Denims is streaming this story about our kid getting Giarda from the dog, whatever.
I'm sorry, I'll accept this position from anyone except you guys.
30 minutes. 30 minutes until like the children situation is mentioned. And what is he saying? I'll accept this position from anyone except what?
You have
except
laid
you
the
guys.
groundwork for this type of streaming, which is watching people shit and giving your unfiltered reaction to it. Why would you expect Anissa, of all people, to say something to Denims? Okay, so by that logic, we should be saying shit to you guys all the time. But I have a feeling you guys wouldn't.
What? No fucking way. No fucking way. No fucking way. The Giarda stuff is mentioned, and now why should we tell somebody not to perpetuate harmful fucking allegations against you? What, dude? That's just the right thing to do. That's just the right thing to do. Wait, I need to hear that back. I need to make sure that I'm not fucking like completely misinterpreting these guys. Hold on.
I'm pretty sure they have a good idea of your feelings about Hassan.
Like, people like Anissa are the perfect example because she's friends with these people. She's friends with Denims.
Yeah.
Denims is streaming this story about our kid getting Giarda from the dog, whatever.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'll accept this position from anyone except you guys.
I'll accept this position from anyone except you guys.
You have laid the groundwork for this type of streaming, which is watching people shit and giving your unfiltered reaction to it. Why would you expect...
Dude, you fucking, oh my god. You're what? Like it's spelled out for you in clear as day items, and you're still not acknowledging it in a fucking pre-prepared video. It's clear as day what the issue at hand here. Harmful rhetoric about these individuals is being spread, which is affecting their daily lives, okay? Which affected their daily lives. Well, to an extent, right? To an extent, it is pretty tragic that somebody's real life is affected from stuff that they've been doing on the internet. And the amount of like fucking brainwashing, the amount of fucking schizo conspiracy theories, the amount of like just absolute fucking insanity that goes on into these snark subreddits, which led up to people genuinely assuming that one of their children's contracted Giardia because of their negligence, because they fucking ate dog shit. Like, how are you not willing to acknowledge that this is significantly more harmful and should probably be, like, you know, argued against than like, any of the fucking examples you've mentioned so far? Are you just completely fucking delusional? This guy is a fucking delusional individual, dude. Jesus fucking Christ.
Anissa, of all people, to say something
Hassan
to Denim.
Grimian? Probably.
Okay, so by that logic, we should be saying shit to you guys all
Probably.
the time. But
Hassan
I have a feeling you guys
probably
would like if we
Grimian.
said shit like that to you all the time. Yeah, we've been respecting you as independent content creators. You can do what you want. We'll treat you as adults. Maybe we shouldn't have been treating you as adults.
She could say so much, and it would make her a little bit uncomfortable, right? It's not comfortable. She'll get a little bit of shit.
Yeah, just for
But
saying
that would be commendable.
And by the way, it kind of speaks for itself that saying, hey, their house is claimed, they're, you know, they're actually good people, like that's going to get you shit. That kind of says it all, doesn't it?
There isn't a single person that I respect who would give a fuck if I publicly said that Ethan and Hila are great with their kids, Ethan and Hila didn't kill their dog, and Ethan and Hila...
Dude! No fucking way. No fucking way. So the reason... So basically what Idubbbz is saying here is he's saying, there is not a single person who would care, which is why I didn't speak out. I didn't speak out because there's not a single person who would care about me praising you lightly, about how you actually treat your children wonderfully. So I'm not going to talk about a person further alleging that you're a negligent individual when they say that you negligently led to a dog's death. Jesus fucking Christ. Idubbbz is fucking cooked. Idubbbz is cooked. This is a horrible fucking video. I can't even give him some of the fucking W's that I gave him. Because of just how he just fucking shits all over it. He just shits all over it.
Wipe their asses or don't have Giardia or whatever the prompt is. No one would care. The only person who would care is me because I'm like, why did I tweet this out? I'm not tweeting out.
You fucking pathetic little freak. This Idubbbz just fucking lost so hard. This just ruined the entire video. This actually just ruined like any goodwill that I could have given them is ruined by this section alone. By these 2 minutes alone, it's ruined immediately.
Not your fucking lapdog. That's why I'm not tweeting it out. I'm not saying it to my audience because I don't give a fuck. It's not my business.
That's, in my opinion, doing...
It's not okay. I'm not saying it to my audience because I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to, and I know this is going to sound transactional. I'm not going to stick my neck out for you during a situation where your children could very well be at harm because of people fucking harassing you and slandering you. Well, not harm, but they could be at risk of losing their children. Right? I'm not going to say anything about that because I don't care. I don't care that your children are being he's basically saying I don't care that you're at risk of losing your children. I don't care that CPS was called to your home. I don't care about the rhetoric that led up to this, about all of the slander, about all the defamation, about all of the accusations. I don't care about any of that because of your type of streaming, you have indirectly caused an environment and cultivated an environment where stuff like this will just happen. So you kind of deserve it, is essentially what he's saying. That is literally what he's saying right now. He is literally just basically, saying that they wrote their fucking own, they wrote their contract and signed it, essentially.
Something that's difficult and standing by your principles. That's the whole point. That's what makes standing by your principles...
They reaped and they sowed.
Admirable, is that it's not always easy.
Why are you saying that I'm not standing up for my principles when you don't even know what they are? I get, we're a little bit past...
Well, if your principles are that you don't care that Hassan, that Ethan Klein is receiving harassment and defamation, and his children are at risk of being taken away because of harassment and defamation, then that's good to know, Idubbbz. That's good to know. It's good to know that you're a fucking pathetic loser that doesn't deserve to be taken seriously. Given that in the past, keep in mind, in the past, if we go to Idubbbz content nuke on let's see, what was it again? Keemstar. When we go to his content nuke on Keemstar, a majority of his talking points was to verify information, right, was to verify information by making sure that you don't spread false information on a network that's supposed to be running news, right? It was like another one of his like what's it called arguments was not to harass people, right? Not to harass people because you can lead to people, getting like very, very bad and negative pushback that they're undeserving of, right? It's to say that that you should probably not be doing a lot of these things. So technically, Idubbbz, it is your principle to stand up against these things. You said it 8 years ago. So if maturing, Idubbbz, if maturing for you is to not stand by some of these very reasonable fucking criticisms 8 years later, then I'm sorry to tell you, Idubbbz, but you're a complete fucking moron that literally does not deserve to be taken seriously by anyone ever.
Correctly naming me, so we might have gone off on a tangent. If you maybe accepted the phone call and we talked about it, you could have asked me, hey, what are your principles? And I can tell you the way I've been behaving is exactly in line with my principles. Now we're going to talk about the media.
Is it? Hold on. Is the way that you're behaving exactly in line with your principles? Sorry, what did you say here in this video? Let's take a quick look. Let's take a quick look about what you have to say about harassment, slander, defamation,
It was someone
and
I
lying.
disliked. Guess what? That's news.
Oh, somebody I dislike. Guess what? That's news. Hold on. Let's just start from here. Hopefully it doesn't say the N-word.
Like picking on Tommy NC, really. It's kind of like picking on an autistic kid. When you
oh, it's kind of like picking on somebody. Sorry, we're not supposed to be picking on vulnerable people, right? Vulnerable situations. Interesting.
Argument points in this video. Instead, I'm going to use them for comedic relief. There are plenty of other things to insult the rat for. He's manipulative, cunty, hypocritical, makes horrible content, extremely unfunny, cringy. It's kind of like picking on Tommy NC, really. It's kind of like picking on an autistic kid.
Hold on.
I'm when you Greek King Star.
The reason why the autistic kid, tell the autistic kid that I'm bullying him, you autistic kid.
Fun of an autistic kid. I'm instead making fun of a retarded adult. I'm so excited. If you really want the epitome of sensitivity, you
no, I don't care about the sensitivity stuff.
Fake piece of shit. Over this.
Anyways, Rash.
Decision maker, and he'll just say something before he even thinks about it. He has no filter. He'll just do it. And this has resulted in countless examples of him saying really regrettable shit. Total biscuit. Can't wait to report on your death.
Can't wait to report your death.
This Twitch streamer is a pedophile. So this leads to his timeline being jam-packed with borderline hypocritical dumb shit.
Anyone that has a YouTube channel and finds the need to tell their subscribers how to fucking think and how to act must have
But
subscribers
anyways,
that are
I'm
little
not gonna
children,
fucking
right?
actually do this because a couple of N-bombs get dropped. That's a complete side tangent derail. But anyways, he laid out his principles pretty clearly back in the day about not like harassing people, not saying stupid shit, not like defaming people and whatnot, not like misreporting information 8 years ago. So it's insane to see that he's not holding those standards 8 years later.
List. We're going to start off with Rogan because obviously this is
no,
like
not Tommy C, Tommy NC.
Rogan, that can only mean that you're anti-Ethan. Oh, this is not a good start.
Mind you, he can have H3H3 support him in his videos, but he can't fucking support H3H3 as a friend.
Sam,
garbage. I know. But again, that's transactional. That's transactional. That is very transactional. I can like understand that you wouldn't want that to be the case. That you wouldn't want to like have transactional like exchanges in your relationships.
Daily dose of internet is anti-Ethan. Jesus, this is fucked up. Pokimane, comment etiquette. Oh shit, Asmongold's in here. Asmongold follows Rogan. No, Asmon. That means you're anti-Ethan. That's fucked up. We're going to want to avoid these creators at the top of the list, but one tier below them are the creators who associate with them. They're essentially endorsing all of their statements. You got me, you got Anissa, I think Hassan's in there. You'd think that Hassan would be on the top of the BDS list, but that's not the case. Hassan provides additional value for people. Ethan can turn a blind eye to people collaborating with Hassan because that's what he did. You got to be the lowest of the low to be associating with the Frogans and the Denims of the world. To associate with Hassan, that just makes sense because he's famous and he's got a massive fan base. Also, Ethan still follows Hassan on Instagram, so Hassan is in his feed.
And then
what are literally any of these points? What is who cares?
On us Nissa's and Idubbbz feed.
It's important to remember that this is a living document and people can be removed or put onto it depending on how Ethan's feeling that day. You have this other tier of creators that exist below Hassan but are still anti-Ethan, but Ethan really doesn't want to bring your attention to these ones because it's kind of unpopular, you know? A lot of them are famous. It's no coincidence that Ethan stays silent when these powerful, popular men are supporting Hassan. It's because Ethan is a coward.
There's a difference. There's a difference. There's a difference between the supports. There's a difference between the support. One of them is your close friends, right? A couple of other them directly, eat up Hassan's content, who happens to support people like Bad and Panada, and happens to also support people like Denims, who happen to also further, they happen to perpetuate the fucking like bad, like the horrible slanderous talking points, and these people don't care about any of that. Of course, there's like a complete fucking difference. Idubbbz, you complete fucking moron. Great fucking job.
A bitch-made coward. I think Ethan has an unreasonable amount of respect for these comedians because they have power, they're quick, and I think he knows that they don't fuck with his ideology. But he's gonna keep that to himself because the last thing...
I don't even think you know that. I don't even think you know that, you fucking idiot.
That he wants to discover is that people that he respects and looks up to, they don't fuck with him.
Bill Burr came on. It was like the worst fucking show. It was just horrible. That was like my lowest moment on podcast history. We could talk about Bill Burr ruined my life. Bill Burr made Ethan go on Lexapro. I was prescribed it and it was in my bedside. And then it was the Bill Burr episode that made me finally start.
When Stavros goes on Hassan's stream and he mocks your content nuke.
I actually saw a really interesting video about you, man, and I don't know that I'm even comfortable being here anymore.
Oh no.
It really kind of shed light on you in a way.
Yeah.
You kind of like have leftist politics and stuff like that, and I actually feel betrayed.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually just here to let you know
This guy obviously didn't watch the video. This guy obviously didn't watch the video.
The last
I would feel uncomfortable being next to Hassan.
time I'm ever coming.
You don't fire back because you're coping. So you're just going to tuck your tail between your legs and never mention on your podcast that mentions everything. You're bringing up some fucking connection I have on Twitter. Someone mocks you on a stream. You're not touching it. Fuck you. You're a coward. It's just his job. It's just what he does for his job. You know, he doesn't mean it. We're actually good friends. You know, he makes fun of everyone. It's not just me, right? Oh, also, I can't forget about Matt Lieb.
I can't help but to say that Idubbbz is just projecting here. Because you could probably make the same arguments for him. Like very few people actually like him that he associates with.
In this like middle tier, his valuable association is Rhett and Link. So Rhett and Link, conveniently, are also in this category of popular and powerful men who Ethan does not want to burn bridges with. Although he's sniffing around.
This guy Matt Lieb, he works for Good Mythical Morning. Of all people, this guy Matt Lieb, who apparently is a producer for Good Mythical Morning. Well, this guy works for Good Mythical Morning, acting like he's wholesome, and he's bringing on somebody that wants to kill my wife, or in a video game. And I think he should be fired, frankly. And I hope he is fired. He's pathetic, and he interviewed basically a terrorist.
I think Ethan only respects power right now, which is one of the reasons.
No, there's obviously a conflict here. There's obviously a fucking conflict here of Ethan being personally perturbed by by people supporting individuals. By people supporting individuals who are taking very personal, very very insensitive, very dangerous shots at him. Like Bad and Panada is somebody that you should very much be aware of getting the wrong attention from because he kind of also he was one of the main proponents of the whole CPS Jardia shit. And it's, again, interesting how you're just unwilling to acknowledge that.
I made this video in the first place is because he thinks I'm weak. He thinks a lot of these other creators that he's gone out
You are weak. You are weak. This entire video is dog
of his
shit.
way to attack. He thinks that they're weak, and he thinks they're a target that he can bully, he can manipulate, he can send lawsuits to. And I want him to know that we're not going to be bullied. You're being
No, you're going to take a fat L. You're going to take a fat
a
L.
piece of shit, and we're going to call you out.
So here's the button. You've got a video and you've got an audio. We're hitting both.
What is this fucking button point? We get it. We get it. Thank you for fucking bringing up the button shit over and over again. If this entire thing is about the fucking button, about Ethan Klein saying regrettable shit, which I've heard millions of times later, I'm just going to skip this entire segment.
He's like, yes, do it.
Now let's talk about the button. Ethan got this button, or kill switch, as a response
Dude.
to the controversy with Cutie Cinderella. He was not able to control himself in that moment, and instead of figuring out how he can change his behavior.
Sorry, Idubbbz. What was that? What was that, Idubbbz? We're talking about insensitive jokes. We're talking about insensitive jokes. This is this fucking moral pandering. This is this moral pandering that fucking shot Idubbbz' reputation and his credibility in his career, right? You can't, somebody like Idubbbz cannot be making this fucking point, especially given the fact that it actually just, that it actually just slaps him, that it's just a self-own. Idubbbz used to be, an incredibly edgy individual who would fucking, very much laugh and, poke fun of stuff like this all the fucking time, okay? This is the shit that you were known for, Idubbbz. Then not only was this fucking years ago, but this is the shit that you were known for. That you are somehow now casting aside to make yourself feel morally superior. This isn't going to fucking work. I don't care.
He spent $20,000.
Dan and Ela were like, we would kill button that right now if we could. I can't change who I am.
I know. That's why the kill button is on its way.
That's it. See, exactly.
He uses the button for everything. If his jokes don't land, he's hitting the button.
It was being presented as if this the Jordan crying thing.
I hit the button.
Why?
I don't think I needed to, but you guys were giving me crickets, so I panicked.
If he's insecure about getting something wrong, he's hitting the button.
But okay.
What? Button for that?
What on this frame could Ethan have responded to? Perhaps the country flag that he got wrong?
The thing is, I understand the criticisms here. But I think that's completely fair. If you do something that fucking if you just say something that probably shouldn't be said on stream, right? If you make a misinformed take and you want to correct yourself, I think the button is a completely fine thing to have, right? It's better to this is such a fucking non-point. If you want to actively correct yourself and not spread misinformation and be aware of what you're saying, the button is a fine option. The button is a more than perfectly fine option. Idubbbz is just being a fucking moron.
Maybe, I don't know.
If he goes on a problematic tirade, he's hitting the button.
Before, look how sad. But yeah, it's not just that. Their eyes are big. I think you guys are wrong on this one. I think you guys are all wrong on this one.
I don't think he's unique in hitting the button. I think if all of us had buttons, we'd hit the button all the time. But
Yeah.
if you don't have it, you operate differently. You think about what you're saying. You maybe plan for your show a little.
Okay, Idubbbz.
You maybe say, I'm not going to have my podcast be an emotional dumping ground for today. You instead say, ooh, it's important that we stay on topic. Also,
That's a good criticism, actually. That is a good criticism. I just can't like really detract from it too much. I agree. Ethan Klein should be less emotional in his podcasts. He should be less vindictive. He should be less less petty. He should be more willing to engage with criticism. But wow, interesting. But anyways, but yes, this is like completely unnecessary.
H3 community and Ethan himself use the phrase goblin mode all the time to
Wait, not necessary. This is a completely good point. I don't know why I said that. This is a completely good point.
excuse a lot of his shitty behavior or make it seem less bad.
I've been diagnosed with goblin mode, actually.
By claiming that what happens is he just gets into this like uncontrolled state. He refers to as goblin mode.
I do not call myself goblin mode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You did.
Goblin mode? Is that what you're calling Tourette's now?
To all victims of goblin mode, I would like to issue an apology.
Well,
You got goblin mode today. You're goblin mode. Look how many times you paused it.
I'm trying, bro.
And I don't think there's no room for using the term goblin mode. I like the idea that you're defending yourself and the little guy by going goblin mode when a big corporation or a big entity is trying to attack you.
Like, if you fuck me over, if you steal money from me, if you patronize me, if you do any of this shit like you're trying to do to me, to treat me like a fucking idiot, I'm crazy, dude. I've gone fucking goblin mode over way less.
But you not thinking about what you're saying, not, reflecting on your behavior, not changing your behavior, that's not...
Okay, so this is going to be the same. This is going to be like literally the same arguments about him, like not the same arguments everybody here, like since Gokunaro has made about Ethan Klein since forever, and being petty. Who cares?
Goblin mode. That's being a child. Let's talk about the crew.
I agree.
I think the crew has been put in the worst working environment that you possibly can be for a fucking podcast. Every crew member has it bad. To be around Ethan, period, it would be a nightmare right now.
I'm standing by every fucking syllable of that, okay? What she did was...
I can agree with that. I would hate to be working for somebody who would constantly put my reputation at risk or my reputation on the line. I absolutely agree with that.
And by the way...
Just don't. Listen, your critique of her is correct. It's just, people are sensitive about women being called that word. And so...
Like, how pathetic are you? You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm not assuming his pronouns. And fuck all these people. Go ahead. And I'm not yelling at you. I'm just... Kelly is a black woman, right?
Yes.
Maziel is a...
Korean.
Oh, Dan, come on. You've been such a buzzkill. Yeah, I don't know Korean. I asked if Koreans are POCs. God.
Dan's in the bathroom. Let's just not do this right now.
I asked if Korean people are POCs.
The one time the button didn't work and we listened to how he spoke to AB without thinking that the internet was going to hear it. It was rude, it was nasty, and it didn't have this caveat of I'm not mad at you. It was anger, and it was uncalled for.
Use the actions.
What are you doing?
Oh my god, he's bringing up this point. This was already fucking talked about. Situations like this just happen at work all the time. This is completely fucking irrelevant. Who cares? Skipping ahead, because some of this bullshit is completely unnecessary. Stuff that I've already heard. I knew this was gonna happen. To be clear, one of my main points that I made, one of my main predictions that he's going to utilize a lot of the same criticisms that people have been making since Gokunaro's video. People like King of Nothing. Like this is stuff that literally nobody realistically cares about. It's stuff that has been regurgitated so many times.
Ethan doesn't want to change, and he wants to bring the entire crew down with him because he's putting them in this position every day, right? But it's more important that he gets this shit off his chest. It's more important that he dumps. We're all familiar with goblin mode. Well, Ethan debuted a new mode recently.
And by the way, my ratio is pretty good. Like, I'm looking at 20 goblin modes to 1 too far. Demon mode, let's call it.
What makes demon mode different than goblin mode is goblins aren't really an intimidating, powerful force. If the goblin is persistent, it can get what it wants.
When I'm done with the other one, the big one that's dropping probably next week, my full attention is going to you, George. Like the Eye of Sauron. I see you out there, you fucking cockroach.
Ethan, the reason the internet got behind you when you were being sued by Matt Haas or when you were being sued by Ryan Kavanaugh is because people saw you as the underdog. They saw you as the guy who's defending the common man.
I'm suing, and I cannot wait for you guys to read it. At the moment, we are writing 3 complaints for 3 people.
You are doing the classic rich
Jujo,
asshole thing.
classic,
You have
yeah.
a deficit of friends, you have a surplus of enemies. You feel really bad, you feel hurt, but you also have a surplus of money. So what can you do? You can use that money to...
Wow, projection. You have a deficit of friends. You have a surplus of enemies, and you have a surplus of money. So what can you do?
bully and intimidate people. These public legal...
I wonder. Well, I don't think you bully and intimidate people, Idubbbz, but you definitely do have a deficit of friends. I would
threats
say
that you're making to fellow creators.
that's real
these legal
friends.
threats that you're making to people on Reddit, on Twitter. You're like, I'm hurt. These people are hurting me. What do I do to stop it? There's nothing I can do to stop it. I'm powerless. No, you have a ton of power. You have a ton of options. You have a ton of choice. That's exactly what you get for being filthy rich. Is you can do all of these things.
I never want to sue someone.
Okay, making a shot at him being fucking filthy rich, completely pointless, just projection, jealousy.
This is a new thing.
Don't care.
This happened during the show. Upon initial examination, it seems to check out, and it's not great for young Noah.
Can I say that? Don't say it yet.
I'll say it.
So he's a rape. So of course his standard. I don't know what he's accused of. So I'm not actually going to say, but
Ethan brought on a former partner of Noah to basically just shit talk him and say that he's a bad partner. But that's all that Ethan was able to extract out of it.
you are not accusing him of committing any crime.
He actually did a pretty good job. Ethan actually did a pretty good job of doing this interview. If Idubbbz is going to like try to like smear Ethan here as him trying to like levy allegations, because I'm pretty much aware of almost literally every single thing, because I've been like digging into Ethan and everything that he's been doing and all of the people that have been talking about him. I've like been digging into these motherfuckers. I know about these motherfuckers. Okay, if Idubbbz is really going out of his way to make the argument. If Idubbbz is really going out of the way to make this argument that Ethan like sort of like smeared him as a rapist,
or doing R word or anything
I'm
like
going to be like I'm going to be incredibly disappointed.
He's a sleaze.
Absolutely. Noah Sampson, as far as I know, is not a rapist.
Fuck you to Noah Sampson, who's not just a liar and a scumbag, but also a creep. Allegedly.
Now let's talk about the left-leaning Democrat.
He presents himself.
Okay, no, you did that. Idubbbz like unintentionally. Idubbbz unintentionally kind of like led people to. He pulled a McIntyre. He kind of unintentionally. He's going to unintentionally lead people to believe that Ethan Klein alleged that this guy was a rapist when that's not at all what happened. If you watched either of those podcasts.
Say that he's a bad partner, but that's all that Ethan was able to extract out of it.
You are not accusing him of committing any crimes or doing R word or anything like that. The accusation is that he's a sleaze.
Absolutely. Noah Sampson, as far as I know, is not a rapist.
Fuck you to Noah Sampson, who's not just a liar and a scumbag, but also a creep. Allegedly.
Now let's talk about the left-leaning Democrat.
He presents himself as someone like me, a left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things.
The thing that made me start to question Ethan's intentions is that when he was suggested to talk to Sam Cedar, a fellow progressive, a guy that Ethan respects and looks up to.
He works with Sam Cedar at the Majority Report. I respect him and what they do there.
He kept saying that it was racist or anti-Semitic to suggest that he talked to someone who's within the same ethnic group as him.
That's why I said yesterday, like, I urge Ethan to talk to Sam Cedar. There are very thoughtful, very kind anti-Zionist Jews out there that he could talk to. I don't think that I will.
I really don't know what to say about this part. I don't know much about Sam Cedar. That stuff I can't really like comment on.
To reach him.
What's the that I only listen to other Jewish people? You need to talk to my pre-approved list of Jews that like agree with me on everything. It doesn't matter if they're Jewish, dude. It doesn't matter if they're fucking Jewish. I think most Jews.
I don't think Jews at large.
Actually, you know what? I understand. I remember this. Actually, disregard. I remember this. Yeah. Talk to people that I specifically want to talk. That I want you to talk to. Let me talk to people that I specifically want you to talk to. Not somebody that can actually have like a mutual conversation.
I don't think that is the.
In what position are you to even say that?
It was not motivated by myself. It's motivated by Jews against anti-Zionist Jews.
How can you speak for my entire ethnic group? I find that really interesting.
Ethan, I don't know.
No, I mean Ethan is just right.
What to fucking tell you? This is like step one of having a leftist ideology, is recognizing our race, religion, nationality, all this shit, all shape our experiences as people.
That's the reason why it'd be better served to have this conversation not with myself, but with an anti-Zionist Jewish person.
Why does it matter if they're Jewish?
Because I'm not Jewish, and you've said in this conversation that like, how can you tell me?
Actually, no. He never mind. Let me walk that back. He's right. I think Hassan is unironically right in this case. I think Hassan is unironically right in this case. Given that this is like an identity conflict based issue, right? Having somebody who is Jewish who takes like very very like hard positions against your logic and your framework would probably be very enlightening if you really want to like test and shit test where your takes are coming from, where like your mind relies or where your mind is like in.
How to feel about the situation.
Yeah, but how is one person a representative of Jews at large? I'm just telling you how Jewish people around the world interpret that phrase.
So yes, Ethan, on occasion you might be suggested to talk to someone who has some crossover with you. It doesn't have to be your ethnicity. It could possibly be someone who shares progressive ideology with you. It could possibly be someone who is of your same gender. I think Ethan understands this concept very well. He listened to these women on his show when they told him that he shouldn't be calling women bitches.
This bitch is intolerable. You are such a nasty fucking bitch, Cam.
I don't know.
This is not even what a false equivalency. Who cares?
Is absolutely
these issues are not remotely comparable. They're not remotely the same.
Capable of looking into Hassan, learning about his politics, interviewing, doing loads of things to figure out where he stands.
He presents himself as someone like me, a left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things. And for the first time, I noticed an inordinate amount of radical, hardcore leftists. I mean, I thought we were social democrats, not whatever this was. This comment from Hassan really started to sound some alarms in my head. I was already getting uncomfortable with our partnership. I started to wonder if I had any idea who this guy actually is.
You made how many episodes with Hassan? Like, this guy made a fucking program with the biggest mega leftist on the platform. Now he's acting like he was tricked and he was incapable of figuring out what this guy's beliefs were. Bro, I didn't make.
Not true. You can reasonably just say. Okay, you can definitely reasonably just say that Hassan has gotten significantly more like politically extreme, and like as time went on, especially after like the October 7 attacks. You can reasonably say that Hassan wasn't always this like extreme or super far left extreme individual, right? You can reasonably say that he's kind of like been doubling, tripling the amount of like aggression that he uses in his rhetoric. You can definitely say that. This is just not a good point.
The fucking leftist program. You did. You made fucking, 60 some odd episodes of this shit for hours talking to this guy? You didn't have a problem with any of it until, Ethan talks about being aware of Hassan's 9/11 comments and then sort of leaves it at that. Like it was just a joke. Actually, I think Ethan describes them as edgy moments or jokes.
You might remember him from such classics as
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
Now, to be clear, I knew
this one. This is so pointless to bring up. Okay, like everybody brings this one up, but it's so fucking pointless because it's so far. It's so long ago, and I believe that the context behind that was a little bit it was still bad. It's still bad to say. Don't get me wrong. It was fucked up to say, but the context. But the context of the conversation can still land depending on how you interpret it.
Controversial jokes at the time we made the show together, because who am I to judge?
No, Ethan, those aren't jokes, right? When someone makes a controversial statement like that, that's not them trying to be funny. I can understand why you would conflate the two. That is someone who's extremely frustrated and passionate about a particular topic. In this case, American.
No, Idubbbz, no. Ethan is trying to be charitable there. You're speaking on behalf of Hassan. You're being like, nuh-uh. You can't be charitable there. You can't say that this could possibly be a fucking joke. You can't say that this possibly wasn't as bad as it sounds like or the way that I'm presenting it. That's him. That is him definitely being passionate and talking about something he firmly believes in. Idubbbz, why the fuck would you do this, you fucking moron?
Imperialism and terrorism. You could have looked into that. You could have talked to Hassan a little bit more and found out what his international politics opinions are, but you wouldn't even need to do that. You can look at it online. You're not a victim. You weren't tricked. You made 60 some odd episodes. If you didn't want to go down this route, you shouldn't have done it. But that was your fucking choice. You did.
Brandon, you should like definitely watch. This fucking content cop has been dog shit. This content cop has not been a content cop. It is literally dog shit. I don't think there's anything there. I don't think there's like there's a couple of good arguments that Idubbbz brings up here and there, but a large majority of them are are like completely ignorant of like further issues. Like this guy is a complete fucking moron. This is literally just like a personal grudge match against H3.
It. You are an adult. When Ethan and Hila are watching Matt Lieb saying that one state doesn't represent all Jews, they cannot wrap their heads around the idea.
No single person represents all Jews.
I'm just telling you how Jewish people around the world interpret that phrase.
What?
Person represents all Jews, as no single state represents all Jews.
I think this is another weird thing.
Oh my God.
Israel. This is a lie that I see Hassan and people pender. They say that Israel's going to war on behalf of Judaism. They've never. I don't believe that that's ever been stated, and I don't think Israel ever explains that it's like.
I mean, he's just right. Ethan is just right. What the fuck is Idubbbz like trying to like argue here? Did he just misinterpret what's being said here? He yes, not a single state represents an entire group of people. Not a single person represents an entire group of people, which ironically enough is the type of stuff that Idubbbz, what are you arguing here? You know a person who does try to make that argument? You know a person that does try to make that argument? Noah Samson tries to make that argument about one state and a handful of Jewish people representing the ideology of all Jews.
If you like my videos and want to help me make more of them and faster.
What are you doing?
To facilitate the ethnic cleansing of Gazans was supported by over 80% of Israelis. This headline refers to Israelis as a whole, but that 80% support statistic.
By the way, he completely misrepresented this information.
Is actually only the perspective of Jewish Israelis. A majority of Palestinians with Israeli citizenship, or Arab Israelis, as the Israeli government tries to call them, considers this ethnic cleansing plan to be immoral. When it comes to Jewish Israelis, however, that number drops to just 3%. This should come as no surprise, given Israel's history, a country that exists on the logic of ethnic supremacy and colonization.
Oh, interesting. A state that drives on the logic of ethnic supremacy and colonization. Very interesting, though, Samson.
Level of dehumanization to keep its inhabitants from collapsing under the weight of the reality of their rotten society. Another way to get a handle on the seemingly ubiquitous genocidal fervor among Israelis is by just
this seemingly ubiquitous genocidal fervor, which basically means that everybody believes in genocide and everybody passionately believes in it, is by doing what?
Talking to them.
How many civilians?
By talking to them, and then we go on to get cherry-picked clips of people, expressing disdain towards Palestinians. Very interesting. What are you arguing here, Idubbbz? He's just right. You can't possibly label an entire group of people as being fucking ubiquitously genocidal because of one representation or because of one state.
I think Israel says it's a place where Jews can go.
Israel is just a place Jews can go? With that slogan, we might actually have peace. If that's all you're defining Israel as, is a place Jews can go. Like, sure, it sounds like America to me. Like,
what the fuck are you saying, Idubbbz?
I don't think that Israel said they represent all Jews. I don't think that's a stance. We're like, hey, displacing Palestinians is all Jewish people.
Ethan is being so disingenuous here to suggest that he doesn't understand what Matt Lieb is saying. Like, it's like he's making a semantic argument. Like, I don't think Israel has said that it represents every last Jew on the planet. I don't think Israel has claimed that. They're not going to say that their most genocidal behavior represents anything to do with them, okay? But what they are going to do is they're going to inexplicably link Israel and Jewishness together, so when they're being criticized, all of a sudden they have the perfect defense. Oh, another thing I need to mention. There was a tier list. It was called the Who Can Say Habibi tier list.
What the fuck are you talking about, Idubbbz? What are you saying?
I was presented at TwitchCon as like a panel.
Like, my mouth is fucking like my jaw is dropped. My jaw is fucking dropped.
That was just meant to be lighthearted and fun, and Ethan Klein saw that, and he decided that it was anti-Semitic.
Here, listen, we're gonna need your help to discuss.
You could reasonably, a reasonable person could reasonably interpret this as anti-Semitic. That is not insane. Jesus fucking Christ, Idubbbz. Way to fucking shoot yourself in the foot.
We have tiers. We have Arab coded. They ask permission to say Habibi. You know, like you got like white guys like, can I say it? Is it slurs? And then love Sabra, which is they're not Arab coded at all.
Now, when I first saw this tier list, I
there's that like seems pretty like it's love Sabra, which means that they're not Arab at all. That is literally like alienating. That is alienating fucking like, you know, anybody who isn't Arab. They're literally just fucking like, what? I feel like that's racist even if it isn't anti-Semitic in general.
Knew what it was doing. I was like, oh, it's a play on the who has the N-word pass and who doesn't tier list. Granted, Habibi is very different than the N-word, but it is a cultural word amongst Arabic-speaking people and Muslim people. Like that is a word that's used. Habibi.
Don't care.
Oh no, don't do that, Habibi. Oh yes, Habibi. You're my Habibi. I'm your Habibi. So yes,
don't care.
A fun way that these Arab content creators can express their Arab culture and be proud of it and happy about it, because it's not like they have.
Yes, at the expense of using Sabra as a joke to like you know, to like not fucking include Arab people. What? Idubbbz, you fucking ignorant moron. Do you not understand what it is that you're fucking saying right now?
Representation on the platform.
Making a tier list based on race. And nobody has a fucking problem with that. Okay, you have a tier list based on race.
It is a tier list based on race, too. Like he literally says it.
Where's the Jewish panel? Where's the Jewish panel? Where at the top it says Jewish. It's a tier list based on Arab to Jew. He's Arab, which is good. That's the best thing you can be on this. That's the best. This is racist.
I will say that conveying information through a tier list is not the most effective thing, but Ethan should understand this principle. He did a white slurs tier list with Hassan.
Cracker.
I mean, you know what my take is.
We can't put this as an F. Cracker. I mean, that's got to be at least a D, right?
Paleface motherfucker.
Paleface. I mean, again, I think that's an F. Hog.
So Hog is my favorite. I use it all the time.
Him and Hassan feel as though they're white guys, so they felt very comfortable talking about white slurs on their tier list.
I think I'm more white than you. What do you think?
I think I'm white. Like I'm.
This is not this can't be fucking like this is not equivalent. This is not equivalent. They like in this fucking podcast they are literally just like fucking like saying that certain groups of people we can like, you know, judge based on whether they can say this word or not, right? And we're going to make a distinction between people who are Arab and can say this word, or are Arab coded and can say this word or maybe say the word, and people that aren't Arab and cannot say this word because they're not Arab, right? Whereas they both identify as white and they're making fun of slurs that are used towards them. These are not equivalent things. Idubbbz has lost the fucking plot. Look, something that I said before I even got into any of this. Something that I said before I got into into any of this, and like 3 streams ago, 4 streams ago, when I made my predictions about this video, is that Idubbbz has never been a really good argumentative person. Okay, Idubbbz has never been good at arguing anything. Okay. Idubbbz has never been good at arguing anything. He's never been good at like making points. He's never been good at constructing arguments. He's never been good at debating. He's never been good at any of that. The reason why his content cops have always like, you know, been good in the past was because they were carried by punchy, quick criticism that was backed by humor. Right? He never made any strong argumentations. He never made any strong debates or any strong points. It's stuff that you can say about somebody. It is true fundamentally, and it's backed by a joke, so it lands hard. Right? He's not gonna argue anything in this fucking video well at all. At all, because he just doesn't have that fucking skill, and that led me to conclude preemptively that this video was going to be dog shit, because he's just not gonna know how to argue any of this, or how to find correlations, or how to find like any substance to what exactly it is that he's trying to present. That was fuck, dude. I was so right on the fucking money, dude. I was so right on the money. I need to be paid for this shit. Yeah, no funny, no facts.
Super white.
I mean, there's some reasonable like points that he makes that are entirely personal points, which I can agree with, which are reasonable to like give somebody. But that's his prerogative. That's his prerogative. It's not something that you could reasonably apply across the board to everything, right? And it's not something that you could reasonably apply if you don't fucking acknowledge like the further circumstances at hand when you talk about them.
Can you understand why Arabs might feel comfortable talking about Arab shit on their tier list, Ethan? You're the white guy. You think you're more white than Hassan.
I think I'm more white than you.
So yeah, the white guy can say all the things that he wants, like Cracker. But the Arabs can't have their tier list.
I would put him also in Arab. I know Turkish people are different.
Notice how they drop the premise almost immediately that it's about who can say Habibi. And then it's like Hassan, okay, actually he's Arab. We fucking love him. He's dope. He's Arab.
Habibi is an Arabic word. That is an Arabic word, Ethan.
Funny about this whole thing is that they say Habibi in Israel. Again, people underestimate just how like mixed Israeli culture is. Like
we say Habibi in Israel. Yes, Ethan. Another piece of evidence as to why it isn't anti-Semitic.
This is racist.
If you're not Arab,
you're not acknowledging why this is anti-Semitic, Idubbbz. You fucking moron. You incomplete idiot. Look, this content cop should paint a clear picture that Idubbbz has never been an intelligent individual. He has never been an intelligent individual, okay? He has never been a very thought-provoking, very impactful individual. He just made a couple of videos that were funny against very easy targets that are extremely easy to criticize, where the criticisms basically speak for themselves.
At all,
this is like Idubbbz has never been intelligent. I knew that this video was going to be like this fucking ages ago.
Semitic, you're just going to eat it up. It's not. Ethan is just proving his location on this tier list under Love Sabra because he doesn't understand Arab culture. There's a lot of Arabs who eat Sabra. There's a lot of people like me who eat Sabra. A lot of the times it's all that's in the store, and I'm going to buy it and I'm going to eat it, but it is not the good shit. Like the average Arab American, they're going to go in the store and the only option they have is fucking Sabra, and that sucks that that's the only option, right? Arab communities and distribution facilities are not widespread across the U.S. So what are they left with? They're left with a common, relatable, shitty hummus, which is Sabra. And what's so fucking pathetic about this whole thing is after he was able to get these Arab creators banned off of Twitch for 30 days, he goes on to talk about how bad Sabra hummus is on his show.
I don't think anybody prefers Sabra over homemade like restaurant quality hummus. You know, it's what's there.
Like weirdly fluffy.
It is fluffy.
Weird.
Yeah.
I would buy it sometimes and eat it. It's not the best.
The problem is with Sabra, in my opinion, it's only good for the first 2 days.
For some reason, like when you eat the Sabra shit, it just feels so much heavier. And imagine eating a whole fucking vat of Sabra. That's crazy.
I've never liked hummus.
Oh, okay. Well, you hate Jews then.
I don't.
And Arabs.
Yeah. It's racist.
Yeah, it's almost like you can have a discussion about Sabra hummus being a bad hummus without it being at all related.
It's not a fucking discussion exclusively about fucking Sabra. In the clip that you show, they literally fucking say that this is supposed to like differentiate between people who are Arab and not Arab, and people who we can like, you know, who we can understand can say the word, or like people we give the pass to, and people who are just not allowed to say the word because of their association with Sabra, dude. Come on, you can't be this fucking retarded. You can't be this ignorant.
To a Jewish thing or an Israeli thing, he can have that discussion as much as he wants on his podcast because we all know his intentions are anti-Semitic.
This is what he did. He hit his heart hard.
The Zionism is leading to not accepting other cultures, embracing their own culture, and instead thinking that that is an attack on you. There's this incident on the podcast where they were reacting to Cutie Cinderella, and Ethan was laughing during it. So that ended up being a pretty important wake-up call for Ethan. He made an apology video directed at Cutie Cinderella, and it was graded by a professional psychologist, Dr. Kirk Honda of Psychology in Seattle, and Ethan got an A+ rating.
In terms of a public apology, this is A+.
Ethan won't stop talking about his A+ rating.
You know he rated my apology to Cutie Cinderella a perfect score? A perfect 10.
A perfect 10 out of 10?
Literally 10 out of 10. Go back. I can teach you how to make a good apology. I'm
Right,
best
10 out of 10.
I know what a perfect apology is, lady. You fucking don't. Is my perfect apology in this PowerPoint? Dude, I got a perfect 10 out of 10.
This one is actually best apology, so.
He's inclined. You're like, oh my god.
I was trying really hard to think about an impactful moment during this video. Like, could I do something that would really wake Ethan up? And I don't know if this
No. You literally did jack shit. You literally did jack shit. Everybody's gonna hate you after this video.
came from a good place or not, but I came up with the idea of getting Ethan's grade
Well,
changed.
except Hassan's and Denim's audience, because you already know those motherfuckers are gonna watch this video. They're gonna praise this video. They're gonna be like, oh my god, Idubbbz. Oh my god, you poor soul. You look at how you were harmed by Ethan Klein, and look at all of this shit that happened to you. Look at you having to like stick your fucking neck out and all of this stuff. Shut the fuck up.
From an A to a B at least. So I went to visit Psychology in Seattle. I'm not confident that Kirk will change his grade, but it's worth trying, and we might learn a thing or two.
Xander. Probably get pretty low marks. Unlike me, perfect score 10. I said, hey, let no wig
This is completely unnecessary. This is completely fucking unnecessary.
drama. Why are you such a spineless coward of a person? Now that you've been
This literally doesn't mean anything. This does not mean anything. I understand like the little bit he's trying to do. Like, yeah, he's doing the. Yeah, for any of you who remember, he's doing the whole Shane Dawson is Jake Paul a sociopath? Is Jake Paul a psychopath bit without actually, without Ethan Klein doing like months of diagnosis?
yourself and your girlfriend into this conversation.
Okay, Idubbbz, I hear you. You're in the room with me right now. I hear you. I hear your request. I understand it. I can understand where it's coming from. And I guess have a policy that when there is a grade for an apology, I am just grading that discrete apology as I see it without taking any consideration of prior or future behavior. If you're wanting me to comment on the overall behavior or the recent behavior from the clips that you have shown me, I believe that Ethan is a good person and that eventually he will feel sorrow and will feel sorry and will apologize. And I will be there to evaluate that apology when it happens, which I know it will.
No, he won't. He doesn't. Idubbbz, you are not owed a fucking apology. You need to go fuck yourself. Is what you need to do.
Brother, this guy stinks!
Unfortunately, Kirk did not change his grade. But that's okay, because this is the internet. Anyone can have their own official
Get hard.
apology rating system. So
Get
I'm
hard.
going to rate Ethan's apology a B-. That's just based on my own feelings and my own rubric. When Psychology in Seattle was watching these video clips of Ethan, he said that it looks like Ethan could just use a hug. Now, of course, it kind of pisses me off to hear that shit, because I'm like, what are we doing? What are we saying? He needs a hug? No, he doesn't need a hug. He needs a good fucking ass whooping is what he needs. I think something that's very important to me in bringing back Content Cop is to be fair. I think that was something that was not...
Oh, to be fair, interesting. As you make all of these petty, self-interested, criticisms that can't really be called criticisms because you completely ignored some of the major factors in a lot of the things that you were criticizing. Idubbbz, I think you need to go fuck yourself and not make Content Cops ever.
Illustrated in previous Content Cops that I think should have been and probably wouldn't have left me with so much...
I feel insulted by this. To be like, I need to be fair. I pride myself off being fair to people. This is just not that is just not that. This is just not that.
Regret. Ethan deserves all of the criticism that he's getting. I think it's very valid. But I also think, at the end of the day, we should acknowledge that he's human because he is human. And he is in a situation that's making him extremely scared, paranoid, defensive, sensitive, and I'm sure other features and feelings.
Yeah, that's true, but not for the reasons, but not for any reason that you've laid out throughout this entire video. And even reasons that you've managed to downplay and pretend like they don't exist.
Kirk saying that it looks like Ethan could just use a hug. I have challenged some of his most powerful haters to put down the haterade and just say something nice and charitable about him because I think he deserves it.
I just wanted to say that I respect that you are genuinely yourself on the internet. I think a lot of other people respect you for it as well.
What backhanded bullshit. Actual backhanded bullshit. You might as well fucking slap the guy. You might as well slap the guy with fucking rose petals on your hand, dude. Jesus Christ.
That's the big reason why people were drawn to your content in the first place. I think that's a lot of the reason why your employees chose to work with you over anyone else.
Ethan, I think it's respectable that you began this journey to leave behind the anti-SJW crowd.
This guy, didn't this guy, like, you know, threaten somebody to go... Didn't this guy, like, wish for somebody's death one time? Fuck this guy. Why, like, this is just, like, some incredibly backhanded bullshit. This guy... Fuck this guy, dude. This guy should be the last person that you should have in this fucking video saying anything.
I know it's not easy.
Ethan Klein, I think that when you are being goofy, when you're being silly, when you are being lighthearted, and just having fun with your friends, I think that is when you're at your best. So I'd love to see more of that. That'd be sick.
I will be reading my letter off because I don't want to sound robotic. HJ used to be the sports figure that I used to watch. I hope that one day gets back to what I remember. You were one of the inspirations for me to start creating content, so all this has stunk. I hope you really hear this, and I wish you the best.
I think Ethan Klein rocks a buzz cut pretty good, and I think...
What? Dude. Oh my god. Oh my god. Dude. I can't help but to feel infuriated. The person who fucking basically slandered and defamed and called Ethan Klein a fucking genocide apologist. You have him on video saying something good. Fucking Idubbbz, you fucking idiot. Idubbbz, you fucking idiot. Never make content again.
He just got a good choice of facial hair. I think it's really cool what he did 8 years ago, fighting that frivolous lawsuit. That was pretty fucked up, and fighting it, you know, changed YouTube for the better. And I thought that was cool because I thought it was like he was fighting.
I thought that was cool. Yeah, this is like asking a fucking idiotic, like, you know, student in class to like write a letter about a person that he keeps bullying.
Free speech.
You know, I also see the dynamic of Ethan and Neela. Like, fuck, like, it's really hard to be a couple of...
You fucking pussy. You actual fucking idiot. Shut the fuck up. Never speak on anything ever again.
People attacking your partner, and it's like, okay, like if you...
You pathetic idiot. You pathetic fucking moron.
That doesn't always help them, right? Sometimes that makes it worse for them.
And I have been kind of slipping into a very unhealthy place where it's gotten worse and worse, and I get criticized more and more, and I get more defensive and more pulled up. A feeling of almost infallibility that I could take anything on. It led me to make a lot of mistakes, and then when I was criticized for those mistakes, then I would...
You know what? I still think that this is true. I still think that this is true. But Idubbbz, you're not doing shit. I actually find this incredibly insulting on behalf of Ethan, and I'm not even fucking Ethan.
Extremely defensive and nasty and not really processing them in a healthy way.
give very shallow compliments is funny. It is funny. It is funny. X, you're absolutely right. It is absolutely fucking funny. I agree. But it's also incredibly fucking insulting, okay? It's hilarious, but it's also incredibly fucking insulting. Anyways, and with that being said, that's a 2-hour live VOD. I only really wanted to cover this stuff today. I didn't want to cover anything else. I did not want to cover anything else at all, unless Carl Jost made his response, which I don't think he did.
Hello, you absolute legends.
This is like my second stream of the day, and I think that's like for a total of almost 12 hours of content today, maybe 10 hours of content. I might be wrong. I don't know. My head hurts. I don't got anything else to cover. I hope you guys enjoyed the coverage. This one is going to be public. This one is going to be public. Okay. This VOD is going to be public, so anybody can watch it and hear my criticism. I think that I was particularly fair during this situation, but Idubbbz, complete fucking moron. Nobody should take this guy seriously. Fuck this guy, absolute idiot. I'm going to raid Marcus now. Hope you guys stick around to watch him. Thank you guys for tuning in, sticking by. Appreciate you all. Later, as soon as I fucking find how to like redirect. 'Cause I'm an idiot. There we go. Yeah. All right. Okay, guys. Take it easy. Later.